appreciate all the support that you've ever given us, and go Cog Prime.
And I want to make sure you get your trophy here as well, man. MVP, Sino, and his heavy, man. Make sure you hold on to it for me. MVP, raise it up for him, man.
It's just so incredible. I'm so happy. And, I've always wanted to tell my parents that I finally won this tournament. So, Mom, Dad, I finally won Worlds.
Feels like I'm in a dream. I haven't woken up yet. Hopefully, this dream never stops.
Splice are going to be your Season 5 World Champions. This is their moment.
Untouched, unscathed, bow down to your kings, the Camelot Kings, champions of the world.
Well, hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to the finals of the Kickoff tournament here for Season 10 of the SPL1. That has gone all sorts of different ways than maybe expected as things started off. It's Gormizer. I got Trelly on the desk. Before we get into this, I do want to remind you today is the last day of a gym storm. First off, actually, that's maybe even more important than the other half of this that I was going to say. If you jump in right now, you can, for your first wins of the day, get free gyms in SMITE. And of course, that comes alongside a gym sale. And that's going to be going on quite a bit longer. So you've got a little more time for that one. But if you're looking at some of the new skins that just recently dropped, maybe looking at a few levels in the battle pass or any of the chests, right now 40% off select chests in game, and of course 33% off gyms. You can get that. That's up till April 9th. That, I believe, is a week from today, so you've got a little wiggle room to try and get in on that, get some of your favorite skins, and look good in game the way, Trelly, that some of these teams have looked good this weekend. Nice. Two of which that we are going to be looking at today. The Dragons taking on the Warriors. It's been a very long, arduous path for them, and I say that just because it's been a 10-hour competitive day into a 9-hour competitive day. And of course, what are these teams playing for? If you didn't watch the pre-show, they are playing for the power of choice. The choice to what? Choose who goes in the other division. So, Phase 1 format, for those of you who are wondering what we're going to be getting into. 2 divisions of 4 teams. You'll play within your division twice, out of division once, and of course your division winners advance directly to Masters, while the other teams will have to compete at a play-ins, which is going to be a much bigger tournament, much more difficult to try and make through. Try to win your division is the biggest thing, and the way it is working is by winning this tournament, you are going to get the power of choice. The first thing that you get to do in a snake draft is choose one of the other 7 SPL teams to go to the other division. They'll choose someone to go back into yours. That third team will then choose, so on and so forth, alternating back and forth until we have 2 complete divisions. That draft show is going to be after the finals. So you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned after the games to find out what the divisions, the Order and the Chaos division, are going to be for Phase 1, what kind of teams you're expecting to see. But that's what the Dragons, that's what the Warriors are fighting for, to be able to say that you won the Kickoff tournament, to be able to choose the very, very beginning, and then, of course, Trelly, to have the bragging rights that you're the quote-unquote best team right now, and for, a couple more weeks right until the phase starts.
Arguably, that's more important, though.
Yeah, bragging rights?
Yeah, getting to say that you're the best for, I don't know, the next week or two, that's pretty massive in its own right, because you get to tweet it out, you get to farm all that, farm some impressions, and at the very least, as you said, I think the decision to just pick someone that is not on your side of the bracket can be extremely beneficial, because that's really the only time that everyone gets that 100% chance to make sure that no one's on your side. After that, it's all up to chance what other teams are actually going to decide. So it's a big deal, and I think both teams, the Oni Warriors and the Jade Dragons, of course, understand that. Yeah,
there's a lot of, I think, pressure for these teams to win today, but at the same time, that then lets you choose the one team, right? Mm-hmm. You get the guaranteed, I don't want to deal with this guy.
Yep.
And that's who we're going to be sending over there. And so, Mifflin, we had just been talking about it, thinks they're going to play tier list. You had gone through a small mentality of trying to make your own path as hard as possible to be the best, got to beat the best. And if you can do that regularly, maybe that does make a bigger difference. I think what we are going to see, though, is a team that has, as of late, at least currently, beaten the best yesterday, taking out the Camelot Kings, the reigning world champs, the first set loss for the Kings since the end of Phase 3, and maybe actually a few weeks. It was like 3, week 5, something like that. It has been a long, long time for them, and that is the Oni Warriors. Trelly, a team that we maybe had some questions about coming into this. Again, you look at all 5 players, and you say, well, damn, those guys are all mechanically gifted. How do they work together, right? Like, how does this match, like Thoth and Panitom? That's not something that I ever envisioned. Jake alongside Netrioid, what a lane, right? Things like that, where to our embarrassment now, we thought, okay, you're all real good at SMITE, but who's the shot caller? Where's the playmaking come in? And it turns out the playmaking comes in the form of hold W and just be better.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Traditional SMITE knowledge tells us the best 5-man team should come out victorious. And I guess and it did seem, I think Mifflin said this. I may be misquoting him, so I'm going to say don't quote Miff on this one. But it seemed like the Oni Warriors were playing as 5 individuals that were just better. Like that was kind of how it was looking throughout the entirety of their sets. And that can be extremely difficult to deal with. If every one of your competitive pro SMITE games feels like a ranked game where every lane's getting diffed, that can weigh on your mental, and you may do some plays that you didn't want. You may make some mistakes that you weren't planning on. And that to me seemed like what we were watching. Just mechanical masterminds here on the Oni Warriors, and the whole game looked like a highlight reel.
I mean, they play it so well. I think Panitom we were talking about a ton over the last couple of days because of performance, and we talked a lot about earlier on the pre-show, just the difference between playing with someone like Shinto and maybe playing with Pegon, having more farm available to you than Shinto maybe was allowing. And then, while I think Friday it was very easy to say, look at the jungle, look at SOT, like look at their KDAs, look what these guys were doing for the team. This was insane, well played. Yesterday, we also then got Pegon to just absolutely pop off. I mean, that one Hebo game, the highlights of there were, I think Mifflin had said it directly as, I don't know how many 2-man, 3-man Hebo ults he hit, but it was too many. And
for sure.
Admittedly, any more than 0 is maybe uncomfortably too many. And, well, lucky for him, he was not only able to do it, they won that set, they took out the reigning world champs, and now they have a chance at winning the Season 10 kickoff. We've got Pegon standing by right now for an interview.
Yeah, Pegon, mid laner for the Oni Warriors. Nearly said Jade Dragons, but I caught myself. Oni Warriors. Pegon, a lot of the conversation, admittedly with the casters, preseason predictions, things like that, was unsure where the shot calling and the vocal members of this team come into play. Is that something you guys had to figure out, or do you feel like you've had an internal shot calling identity from the get-go?
I think we all shot call a little bit, but me and Penny kind of have like slightly bigger voices, and yeah, we just got used to it, kind of like that.
We talked to Sai yesterday after your win. He told us that he feels like this meta just kind of caters to you guys and your play style. Do you agree with that? And
yeah.
In what ways do you think
I just think all of us can play pretty much every character, so we can always play whatever's good. I think we'll be good in pretty much every meta.
And really this tournament is building towards first seed, and with the divisions and the way that Phase 1 is broken down, you get to send a team over to the other side. How highly do you weight that? How important do you think it is to be able to get rid of one of the teams? You only have to play them once in Phase 1.
I think it'll be very good, but we just want to win to win. Sure. A big grudge match today.
That's right, yeah. You go, what, against Mike specifically?
Replace me with Dardez.
Well, we're going to get to talk to Mike here in a moment. Do you have words you want me to share with Mike? You can say anything you want, and then you get to run away, and I get to be the one to deliver him words. Do you have anything for Mike? You can say no if you don't have anything.
I got to win first, then I can talk.
All right. Yeah, it's smart game plan. Look, you guys have been doing a lot of winning. Excited to see what the Oni Warriors get done with this year, and best of luck.
Thank you.
It's nice to hear, and exciting to hear specifically that they think not only are they good now and that they kind of found their voices, found their identity quickly, but that extends, Trelly, beyond meta, right? That's the thing I think that really, for me, caught my ear, and I want to see throughout this year, right? There's going to be a lot of changes. Of course, we're in, the Season of Hope now. I know there's at least 2 more planned throughout the year, and if they're even half as big as this one, then I know we are going to be seeing quite a lot of changes. So, realistically, we are in a very fun trajectory. I will say, though, Trelly, it feels like someone is going to call him out and say, you got to be brave and you got to talk smack before you know the outcome, right? Yep. It's one thing to win and then go. You got to bring it up first.
Well, I mean, Pegon's a little bit younger, newer to the league.
Yeah.
I think once he, gets that tenure under him, then he'll maybe talk some smack before the game. But, yeah, it is definitely smarter just career-wise to wait until you've won, and then you can be like, I always knew it, they're bad, that sort of thing. So I imagine if we do get to talk to Mike, he might give us a little bit something beforehand, because that's more of his personality. He's been around a while, and he's got that confidence, that swagger to him.
And there's something I think that is going on in this set, which is mainly looking over towards the Dragons. This is a team that you take the core of it, and well, honestly, maybe even a little bit more. Lately, tournaments haven't been going well for the Vote, the Dardez, the Nika core. LASBRA, on the other hand, has had a lot of pop-off moments. Mike, of course, we know, has been able to crawl his way to the top with a lot of different teammates. So there's a lot of interesting things that this Dragons team has been able to do, but this weekend path, it hasn't been the simplest for them, but I think that honestly has worked more in their favor to get some of those things smoothed out and realize, oh, we didn't even think to cover that just yet. Now they've made progression. They've kind of showcased what they have to offer, and I think they gave us two really, really good showings in their sets.
Absolutely, and I think getting to sit back and watch what all these other teams are playing, specifically the Oni Warriors, how they like to play the game. We've been talking a lot about, just the mechanics of that squad, but getting to see some of the picks they lean on, I think, is a big buff to the Jade Dragons. They get to maybe think about how they wanted to play picks and bans maybe a little bit differently than they would have if they didn't get to watch those matches beforehand, but I have been very impressed with how the Jade Dragons have been playing this meta. We thought these healers could be something that everyone was leaning to. Turns out not everyone can pilot these healers because maybe there's not in the God pool, but Mike is certainly not one to stray away from it. I think Dardez has been sticking to the picks that he likes to go to as well. And just going with comfort picks, there is definitely a strength to that as well. Just having a God you can lean on saying, hey, I could pick this no matter what the meta is, no matter what items are good, and I'm still going to be able to have a pop-off performance. I think that is another one of the strengths of the Jade Dragons.
Yeah, honestly, this team, I think as a whole, has really been fun to watch, and I think is going to give us a lot over this year. And that's more or less what I'm looking at with a lot of this, is what we're going to get out of them for the future. I think that this Dragon squad, a lot of big names on it, a lot of players that have been around the scene for a long time. I think regardless of the outcome today, we are going to end up seeing a lot of memorable moments, memorable plays, a lot of big things that come from this team. And I'm always excited to see that. If you're looking at them matchup-wise into the Warriors, styles of play, actually we'll get to that question maybe in a little bit. Instead, what we can do right now is actually go and talk to PBM himself, standing by with Dave for an interview.
Yeah, I was hoping there'd be a little trash talk to relay to you. Your previous teammate Pegon, he was in here. I said, "Do you have anything to say to Mike? You can scurry away, and I'm going to be the one to deliver the news." And he said he's going to let his gameplay do the talking first, and then see what happens after that. Do you have anything for Pegon, or have you did you instill in him, don't talk until the games happen?
Daniel's like a little baby bird, that we carried in the nest last year. And we let the egg fall out of the nest,
Oh,
and
no.
that one was on me. The egg cracked a little bit, but now, it's nice to see that he's healed up. He's ready to fly. Daniel's my goat. I love that little guy. That being said, that whole team is just absolutely running it down. So I cannot wait to play streamed ranked. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's been kind of, we did the caster predictions earlier in the year, and we couldn't quite pin down the Oni Warriors. We were thinking this is such a mechanically talented team, but couldn't quite figure out where the shot calling and the game planning was going to come from. Apparently, it's worked. In your mind, how do you compete with a team that just loves to run it down and play that mechanical Wild West style of Smite?
I think it's really cool because they're all just a ton of young, talented players. Like, it was never a question mark how much talent they had on their team. I think it makes a lot of sense that they would come out to a hot start. I mean, Jake has played like 5 million ranked games so far this year. Like, they've just all been grinding like crazy. So it makes a ton of sense that they're doing really well, just given how talented they are. So for me, it's fun. We're going to just play games. And I came into this tournament just wanting to practice, get some reps in with the team in the booth, see how things feel. So for me, it's just kind of playing, practicing, try to learn stuff from it.
And if you win, we get another Mike tier list stream. Remember last because that was what, Summer Masters maybe last year? That's right.
Yeah, featuring more water, of course.
That's right, of course, all the water. We talked mid lane matchup on the desk, and so originally this was going to be a Dardez interview. Obviously, couldn't join us. So you're going to play the part of Dardez, and I'm springing this on Mike at the last.
I am an American who has never even imitated a French accent.
No, you certainly don't have to do any accents if you don't want to.
Great.
Just
That's
answer
perfect.
the questions as you think Dardez might in his answers.
Okay.
Dardez, it feels like you haven't had to change up your God pool all that much from last year to this year. Is there any potential for you to get a bit more flexible with your picks as the year goes on?
I mean, the gods are just kind of OP. I have two idiot
good.
side laners that need me to carry. If they're going to leave it open, why not?
Playing with Mike now, you got this roaming aggressive support. Do you feel like he has really elevated your gameplay?
No, he is an idiot.
Don't got it. You're also
Actually, he would also throw in anytime I say something stupid, he'll be like, "You are such an American." He'll just hit me with that.
Well, perfect. We're excited to get Dardez in studio. I'm excited to get this one started off. Thanks for your time. Back to the desk to get things going.
That's always fun to hear. Well, I guess the insights there to Dardez, or at least the insights that Mike has on the insights of Dardez. And I can confirm, I feel like I've got a few European friends that will always drop that you're such an American.
Oh yeah, 100%, and they can just tell right away.
And there's also those moments where you sit back and you go damn, you're kind of right.
I don't know what a kilometer is. That's facts.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. I know. Not only do I know a kilometer, I know the conversion rates for mile because I for some reason memorized that in physics and my brain kept it.
You know what a Celsius is too? That's crazy.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes even Kelvin. Look, Charlie,
SMITE.
I'm a nerd, dude.
SMITE,
All right,
please.
You want to get into this? Let's play trivia. No, it is. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what these teams have to offer. In Mike's own words, it'll be fun to play streamed ranked. He sees this, and the minute he said that, I started thinking about the lineups of this team. And realistically, you could have told me vote solo queuing into a Dardez Nika queue. LASBRA happened to just be queuing up. Mike was queuing up. They got thrown on a team together, and the poor souls on the other side would maybe be upset about it, except the poor souls were all queuing 5 different teams, and they all ended up together. It is really fun to really think about what this and these comps are and how they play. I think yesterday what we got to see the Dragons do against the Hounds, adversity in early game loss that led to late game teamfight wins, and some straight up run it down. They had one of the fastest games we've had in the tournament. So we get to see, I think, 2 teams in this that can be adept at playing incredibly fast Smite. And so what I'm going to ask you instead of play styles and things like that, kill counts. Are we expecting a lot of body drops throughout this set? Are we expecting, the numbers to stay equal? Is it 15-3? Is it going to be 15-15 or something even more ridiculous? What kind of game in terms of just pure fights are you expecting?
I would say the Warriors and the Dragons, if this game isn't if this isn't 25-24 by 30 minutes, they have failed us, the fans.
Yeah. What I was going to say is we're going to hype this up to be super bloody, big fights, and then we're not going to be 2-0 at 25 minutes.
And that's
what Dave's going to have the time of his life with that.
That's what I'm saying. If they do that, they have failed us, the fans.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's, as you said, I want a bloodbath. I want first blood before the minions meet, and then 3 more kills.
Yeah, if it's not
the
2
next
5-man invades that result in 1 deicide within the before the timer even hits 0, are we even playing Smite?
Did you see Pegon pull Jake over just to get the flex on camera? He said, wait, the camera's not good over here, and he yanked him over.
And you know what? That's the kind of teamwork that we needed to see from the Warriors out of game to showcase what they're going to be bringing in today.
I mean, if you've got that kind of synergy just for the flex.
Now, will he pull Net over to get Net to flex? Is it like a chain of flex?
I think
is he just going to do it again?
I just know that Jake's been big on his gym grind, so maybe that was something he's been meaning to do. And I don't know. I imagine that was Pegon's hey, here's your moment, and then just yeeted him over with the might of Zeus one-handed.
That's and you could see it in a moment like that. That's when you can typically know he's been hitting the Benny Q gym with his brother, right?
Sure.
Obviously things have been going, I guess, pretty well. It seems like they're all happy. I really enjoy watching what this Warriors team, because everybody else, I hadn't seen or really talked to any of these players since Worlds, so it was fun to watch and has been fun to watch how they have coalesced into this roster. And it'll be fun to watch how they do in game number 1 here of the finals. Warriors taking on the Dragons. Warriors had the option, chose first pick. And we'll get to see how they do over the Dragons. Bans so far this Trelly, you want to talk about top bans in general. Aphrodite, Yemoja, Terra, Susano, Odin, Kern, all on that list.
So not Hera.
Not Hera, but when you start to maybe zoom in a little more on against the Jade Dragons, things you should ban, Hera, Athena start to really rise up in their stock.
Yeah, when you look at Dardez, apparently you don't want to deal with the Hera. It's been on and off, but right now definitely on. Something to take away. But the rest of those bans, of course, LASBRA's Athena going to be taken away. The Afro, no way. That was going over to the Jade Dragons, and the Terra is something that's been consistently banned away. But it is going to be the Hebo taking that one away from Pegon. You know, usually I would say questionable, but after the performance we've seen throughout the entirety of this tournament, I would not let Pegon pick that in a million years. So I think definitely a smart call. But the Oni Warriors have shown if Cernunnos is open, they're going to get it every single time for net. They want him safe on that duo lane. They don't value it as much as the Ishtar. They don't value it as much of any of the other picks, leaving, of course, some better picks available, but it's just that comfort. That's what they want for their duo lane.
Well, there are two gods so far this weekend that have had a 100% pick ban rate. That's going to stay true here, and that has been Cernunnos and the Yemoja. But you want to talk about most picked gods in general. Kern, 11 games played so far this weekend. This will be 12 for him. Same thing for Hercules, 12 for him. So Hercules, Yemoja, Dragons, Trelly immediately start up, getting frontline online. A little bit of healing, shielding, a lot of health, and just tankiness from a Hercules gives Nika a lot of wiggle room to play around with. Meanwhile, it's getting answered back with a Hades, presumably from SOT, which we saw yesterday was absolutely bonkers, and a Horus probably going over towards Jake. How are you feeling about the frontline matchup here?
It is annoying to deal with the Hercules, especially when Nika's piloting it, because you get so much movement speed. No matter how safely you play around a Fire Giant Siege, if you fire out 3 Herc-2s, one of them's going to connect, and you're going to pull a beads and maybe just initiate that fight for your team. Throw that in with the Yemoja, how do you walk up? The Jade Dragons have definitely cemented themselves with a very solid front line here. Throw an Ishtar in to boot, and it looks like they've got plenty of shred as well. Yeah. So I am liking the picks here for the Jade Dragons just by way of meta. But the Oni Warriors, they got what they want. You know, from what they've been playing, this is exactly the style of Smite they want to play.
Yeah, there were 3 gods I'd mentioned, Kern and Hercules, that are at 11 games. The third on that was Ishtar. So it's like if that's not getting locked in, something's gone wrong. It has been fun to watch the dynamic shift. I feel like at the beginning of the weekend, Ishtar was first picked, or at least picked sometimes over Kern, kind of balanced back and forth with them. And it feels like that has been a little more questionable from her side, despite how dominant she was at the end of last year. So definitely some changes that are making a big difference. Talking about bans, though, the Dragons, they were watching yesterday. They saw what this Fenrir can do. They're going to try to limit Panitom a little bit here. Wouldn't be surprising me. Bakasura was another really, really big one. You can see that in the top 6 against him. Mercury, Thor, who still hasn't been banned just yet. Maybe something that needs to be talked about, considering his general ban rate is pretty high in the tournament. But it is shots over towards, very specifically, Dardez right now, right? Afro is more of a Mike pick, but still, Dardez would probably love to play it if possible. Hera, definitely a Dardez pick. And so is the AMC. And so we'll get to see what they try to deal with this time around. Thor gets banned this time around, Trelly, so I'm going to harp on the junglers now, because we still need 2, 1 for each team. Where is your mind going for some of those picks now that Hunbats has also been taken away?
Well, I think that what the Oni Warriors have been doing as of recent is counter-picking so that Panitom can have a good matchup. The reason that the Baka pick comes out is because something like the Susano is on the field, right? In this case, because the Jade Dragons haven't shown their hand yet jungle-wise, I don't think Panitom wants to pick. He wants to see, because more often than not, his game plan is, hey, I'm going to find you in the jungle, I'm going to make sure I have a good 1v1, and I'm going to try and bully you. I think that LASBRA has played into matchups like that plenty of times. He doesn't have the Athena, he doesn't have the Hunbats in his options because of the Oni Warriors ban, so I wouldn't be surprised if they hold one more time, and they're going to. They are going to grab the Merlin, and that puts a bit of a wrench in the Oni Warriors' plans. Now Panitom has to pick a catch-all jungler. That's going to be fine, but not necessarily get that counter matchup that he was looking for.
When you're thinking, let's call early game aggression, where is your mind? Like, Fenrir, typically on that list. Ratatosker's actually been kind of big. Do you think Panitom would be willing to pull that out in a comp like this into what the Dragons have, or is that still playing maybe a little too dangerous?
Well, for some reason, this tournament has shown that people are still willing to play Erlong, which I think still not my favorite, but that's the kind of early aggression that could be shown. I've seen a lot of Ratatoska played recently, but not too much success, so I would like to be proven wrong about that one, but I don't think the Oni Warriors would want to go to the Rat in this case. It's just, what can you make sure get your team off to a great early start? I mean, we haven't seen Gilgamesh either, but that's the kind of thing. Something that can just scrap early. That's what Panitom likes to lean on, especially when he's been dominating these 1v1s. It seems like that's what they would try and grab here in the jungle. It's just, I think they're a little bit annoyed that the Jade Dragons did not show their hand and pick a jungler up until that 5th slot.
Yeah, it definitely caused them a little bit of trouble. Interesting to note, 3 games of Hades played so far this weekend. All 3 of them have been wins. And so the Warriors want to continue trajectories like that. I was just trying to find assassins in general when I started looking this up to see where they could go. And you know, it is like very low play rate for a lot of these gods.
Yep.
that we haven't really gotten to see a whole ton of them. And with how many are banned away, I mean, Mercury has definitely been a go-to pick for quite a few of these teams, and it seems like the Warriors are going to continue that trajectory. But you can see Trelly. 3 games played, not a whole ton to really go on, but has not been winning in those games. Only won 1 of the 3, whereas Thoth, he only got the 1, but he managed to win it and do pretty well. How do you feel about the bottom 2 for the Warriors?
I actually really do like the Thoth into most mages right now, as long as you're able to keep your mid laners safe. There is a fair bit of peel here for the Oni Warriors, and it fits Pegon's style, which is, I'm trying to diff the other mid laner. I'm not trying to be a good teammate. I'm trying to make sure that Dardez can't step up to lane. Who's going to outrange a Merlin? Definitely a Thoth, so good idea. However, unfortunately, when you see the Fenrir's band, you think, hey, maybe Thoth's going to be a good idea. The Daji chases that dash down extremely well, and it's a pick that LASBRA is very, very strong on, especially in the early. So that's going to be an annoying one. LASBRA got a decent matchup against the Mercury as well up until those crits start coming through. So I'm thinking the Jade Dragons played this draft about as safe and about as calculated as they wanted to, and they got everything they would want.
I do want to talk more about this Daji, though, because last year, you know, specifically, if you look at Nika, Dardez, Vote, they spent a lot of time with a Daji on their team, right, with Cuvo playing it, and Cuvo was absolutely running the show with it, to the point where they had to deal with it banned against them more often than not. LASBRA was on that list, though, of players who made that Daji look just as good. And so it feels like something that they should be used to because they played a lot with it, that they know it's going to perform to the same level that they're used to it performing. It feels like that could be a really deadly pick into the Warriors.
It really can be, especially with that Thoth and the Cernunnos. I mean, no CC immunity there. You're pretty much relying on... I think that Awesome Jake can make some clutch plays. If you notice the Palau goes up, you can start channeling that Horus ult, and the second they get pulled back in, you can take your team away, but it takes some precise timing, because LASBRA can say, I'm not going to pull yet. I'm just going to wait here. Like, go ahead. Yeah. You can use that ultimate. I'm just going to sit for a while. It's all a timing thing. And again, if you're not holding on to those beads, you have no other form of CC immunity. It's not like Absolution can be a pickup here for Jake, because again, that ult takes so long to channel. You're not really timing that CC immunity well. It's going to be a lot of positioning and playing defend Pegon. With a Mercury in play, Panitom's got to sit back a lot. He wants to ult down lane. He wants to make sure he's hidden until the fight actually begins. Not a lot of room to sit there and try and grab out of 1,000 cuts to make sure that damage doesn't get off. It's hard to play Thoth in this matchup.
I have, over the last couple of days, I have been referencing nightmare games on Mercury, and the one that I was talking about, we got a second one this weekend, but the one that I kept referencing was a Panitom game on this Mercury. I'm really curious to see how this is going to go. We've definitely seen some struggles for him. Early game actually working out pretty well for him, which was where the Warriors' strength is, but transitioning that after getting some of the crit online and making it happen. I believe the one win was a King's win that they had to pull out, and it was one that Twig afterwards said, yeah, that was not a good game from me. And so there is, I think, a little bit of pressure. Of course, he said that, and he still got a quadra kill that game. Just want to make sure that's clear. It is something I think that has to come maybe with a little bit of hope, but also a grain of salt, where you're excited to see what it can have, but it might not live up to expectations. We'll find out. Can it get things done here in game number 1? It's the Warriors, it's the Dragons, and it's Dave and Mifflin.
And it's the SPL Kickoff Tournament Finals. We'll find ourselves a first seed and a first team in one of our 2 divisions for Phase 1, and then the draft show happening later on today. So really the rights to first pick, to send a team over to the 2nd division, is what we're fighting for here in MIF. I think the Oni Warriors, surprising a lot of teams here this weekend, maybe not themselves. I think this is a team that figured they had the ability to make it here. And I don't think anyone ever doubted their talent, right? I actually think the conversation was always, this is one of the most mechanically SMITE talented teams in the league. But what was the identity going to be? Well, their identity seems to have worked, and they find themselves here in a best-of-5 grand final.
I mean, with hindsight, I think we probably could have predicted the Oni Warriors are going to be a run-it-down team. If you're all mechanically gifted and you all have faith in your ability to 1v1, you're probably going to try and leverage that throughout the early. So maybe on us, maybe on your analysts, Dave, weren't able to give you the info.
Yeah, that's not me, right?
Yeah, no.
I get the bailout here.
Yeah, you were wrong, but acceptedly so.
Right, of course. I'm never right, and that's the difference. The Jade Dragons, though, on the other side, we knew that this team built around Nika, Dardez, Vote, that 3-man core. But now with LASBRA, now with PolarBearMike, was going to look a little different to how the then Oni Warriors roster maybe looked in the past. And maybe shades of that earlier on in the weekend, but it really feels like a team that's kind of figured things out and starting to play really well around one another. And I think Mike's approaching this with a really good mentality. Of course you want to win. It's a tournament and a great way to start off your year. But just getting more land practice in a tournament setting with a team that Mike and the rest of the squad believes has the ability to go the distance this year. It's a good look. Sot has dashed away. LASBRA blinks forward. But this time won't have the damage to get a first blood.
Yeah, that was a wishful think from blink from LASBRA. Not certain there's really anything that could have happened there that would have cost SOT his life, barring standing his ground outside of tower range. But even applying that poke should find a bit of value, so long as Nika can prevent this from happening. If SOT is allowed to just heal every single time, even in spite of some nerfs to Devour Souls, should be able to resustain very quickly. It's a major loss for LASBRA early on. Now your efficacy on duo lane ganks or even mid ganks, a bit restricted for the next 100 seconds.
I'm trying to think, in Season 9, how often was Laz ever getting this pick? It feels like Daji was banned out against LASBRA and the then Bolts effectively every single week. And it's because of moments like that. Even though that solo lane gank doesn't pay off, it's early aggression, it's often aggression.
Yikes.
Zot gets the heal. Nika's going to have some damage here. The last couple of abilities just need to connect. Beads off of Nika. Zot will get his dash back once more. That'll be enough that time. So it hasn't been an easy early laning phase myth for the Oni Warriors solo laner. Trying to keep the pressure on this Hades early and often. And you're giving Nika something great to do it with, as Hercules been one of his most frequent picked gods so far this weekend.
Hercules has a really good matchup in a Hades, pre-5. Up until level 5, it's very easy to prevent the Devour Souls from connecting with Wave. You can poke out pretty consistently. The repositioning tool is very good. And before Hades gets a whole lot of points in that third ability, the sustain not too much to deal with. We're going to see an inflection point, and it's around first back. With both Nika and SOT going down the damage tree, likely Golden Blade for Nika on this Hercules. Doom Orb for SOT seems to be the standard. Hades just gets a bit stronger, a bit faster. And will also have the sustained advantage of Hercules also being a receiving, rather, a nerf to his heal. It just affects him a bit more.
Let's pull back from Nika onto SOT. Sot will have his dash back here shortly. Use it to get away. But Panitom and LASBRA on the right. Dardez would be in a little bit of trouble. Pegon had hit level 5, but only down at level 4 on the Thoth for now. Pegon, such an X-Factor on a team of X-Factors in this Oni Warriors squad. Something like the Thoth here, Myth. The conversation often around where's the setup. We trust Pegon to hit Final Judgment. Dashing forward, though. Maybe I didn't even expect it. He's got Panitom here.
He's stuck to him.
Ultimate is out, and LASBRA sent back by Panitom, and Pegon has the last bit of damage. And wouldn't you guess it, Pegon plus Panitom equals first blood. A recipe for success in the Oni Warriors on their right side invade.
Just an eye for opportunity that Pegon's got there. Realizes LASBRA is still level 4, doesn't have access to the ultimate, relies on an ally to utilize the Trickster Spirit to get out. Dashes in, gets aggressive, and says, look, if he initiates on me, if LASBRA tries to turn around, if it were a 1v1, LASBRA wins. It's not, though. Panitom's so close by, able to rotate through and simplify that engagement. That's the X factor you were talking about. Pegon Doesn't just solo enemy mid laners, he'll do it to the jungle too, given the opportunity.
Good setup from Panitom, and now level 6 for Pegon, and a first blood as well. I mean, hard-pressed to miss a final judgment when you're 2 feet away from your target, but it was well played by Panitom.
Locked down by Panitom and thrown back at you.
Right, there's no way you're missing that.
Pegon's not missing normal ones.
Right, he'd hit it even if Panitom wasn't there. So playing around a lot of that is where my eyes end up going. You're going to have good setup from Panitom. But Jake, though, on this Horus myth, and seemingly has found a play style early here in Season 10 that might suit what Awesome Jake wants to do.
Yeah, I love Horus for Jake. It's a very aggressive player with a very aggressive pick, but has a built-in bailout with the heal. Go in with Fracture, updraft, land all your CC, and you've always got that escape tool so long as an ally or a minion is nearby. With some of the changes to Horus giving over a bit more utility, with a larger map in Season 10, that ultimate to the skies gets a little bit more value as well. It's very difficult to lock him down.
5-minute Gold Fury. We're doing it,
Panitom. Take a while.
I mean, he's taking a lot of damage, Panitom is, but look, this is the composition, this is the mindset of this Oni Warriors team. Frenzy gets used. Oh, the Oni Warriors gonna drop, and a couple of their members down to half HP. Gold Fury taken by the Oni Warriors, but Vote and LASBRA have answered with kills. Jake will get out by the skin of his teeth. Gold Fury to the Oni Warriors, but 2 kills to the Jade Dragons. You cannot afford to be asleep for even a moment against this Oni Warriors team. They will pull a Fury at 5 minutes with Frenzy.
Just perfectly on respawn there. I wonder, had Panitom used Wing Shard, whether or not they would have been able to survive, but holds on to it regardless. Once Panitom uses that dash to create space, he sacrifices himself. The Oni Warriors, a clear decision. Let Panitom die. I'm sure they would have preferred it was just him, but even in grabbing the gold, I believe an even trade.
Sonic Boom catches Nika. Another final judgment, and it's this time a kill for Panitom. This 2-man roam between Panitom and Pegon has now resulted in 2 kills for the Oni Warriors.
Yeah, Doomorb in first slot, now having penetration, even more movement speed will allow just that. Pegon can get active on the map, rotate just about wherever he wants, and so long as he maintains parity or the slight lead that he's already got, won't even sacrifice too much in the farm. This is tough for the Jade Dragons. I'm sure Mike, used to being on the other end of game paces like this, wants to be the aggressor, but this time around it's the Oni Warriors going for a very fast style of play. And the difference is, when I think of the Jade Dragons and how they had won their previous sets, it was phenomenal punish game. Get 1 kill, back up to the Gold Fury, establish your lead, go back to farming, rinse, repeat. With the Oni Warriors taking gold this early, with their hyper-aggressive play, should they fumble, should there be a blunder, and they just fall down, the Jade Dragons don't have anywhere to go to punish them.
Yeah. Jake's got Mag Eyes early. It's going to be hard to punish this Horus anyway. Dash in on cooldown, get some damage onto Mike, who's riptided back. Mike gets himself out of danger. LASBRA's here, though. LASBRA also has Palau. There are beads for Netrioid, but it's maybe Jake who's in some trouble. And it looks like To the Skies will get him out A-okay. So, both supports in a bit of danger, but both supports survive.
I like that play from LASBRA. Says, well, I'll never catch up to Netrioid in a situation like this, so I'll just close gap on a Jake, try and Palau from there. A high-value Palau at that. Gets the ultimate, the To the Skies, as well as the beads off of Netrioid. Good fight-back potential now for the Jade Dragons in that duo lane. Vote on this Ishtar. Hyper-aggressive. Bloodforge has attack speed on it now, so should be able to remain involved. And even a slight experience lead for Vote. That might restrict Awesome Jake. I'm not certain you want to leave Netrioid alone against an Ishtar who seems to have already established a slight lead.
We have seen the Ishtar Cern lane a lot. I believe that was one of the more popular lanes during the World Championship run in Season 9 just a few months ago. I'll often see just those 2 ultimates exchanged for one another when trying to scrap, but if Vote can find that opening, better be sure he'll take it. And we saw some great moments from Vote yesterday. Feels like he's already gotten comfortable with PolarBearMike, which is threatening to the other teams in this league, because we know what Vote's capable of over his career. And now a new look duo lane for this Jade Dragons team. Forgot, one of the pros tweeted it after maybe the first or second set that we saw the Oni Warriors play this weekend. Vote under pressure, but he'll be okay. And obviously it's open to a little bit of argument, but the sentiment was effectively, who would have thought when a bunch of teams drop their best player and those players go and make a team they're gonna end up being really good, right? I think that's
Who's
kind of
tweeting that?
I don't know. One of our pros tweeted it. It was something along those lines. I mean, obviously it's more of a nuanced conversation, but some of the best players from some of the best teams all formed a team with one another, and maybe a surprise to some of our predictions have been doing really, really well. And Myth, it's been quiet, but it's been 2,500 gold lead built up for the Oni Warriors. A lot of it's around that Fury. Kills are equal, but neutral farm's been there for this team.
I wonder how the pace maintains from here. Oni Fury now back on the map. Could be that we see another fast rotation from the Oni Warriors. The repositioning into the skies allows you that bailout card of, all right, well, the Fury pool didn't go so great. I'll go ahead and reset myself. Is Dardez in trouble? No way.
Oh.
That hit?
That it? Oh, wait, did it? Did he flicker into it? There's no, okay. I'm not giving, maybe I have to give Pegon the benefit of the doubt there.
That's Pegon.
That clips Dardez. It's a flicker back into it. Whether intentional or not, it looks cool. Doesn't result in a kill, but Dardez takes a little extra damage and naturally now has to back away and can't be here to maybe fight over this Oni Fury. At least not here immediately. A 2-level lead for Pegon.
It's just Mike.
Secure. Not there. Frenzy gets used again. Oni Fury up and Oni Fury down. Simple enough for the Oni Warriors.
It's so different from what they had done with the Camelot Kings. It was all kills all the time, everywhere on the map, hyper aggression. Now it's, all right, we'll just get a little bit of poke, send someone back to base, regroup around the Gold Fury, and even just the decision-making of SOT there. All right, well, I don't have teleport, but Fury's respawns. I'm going to get there anyway. Heads back to base just in time to make that rotation. And with Nika not having teleport and having not gone back to base, there was no way for him to get involved. So best case scenario there for the Jade Dragons is 4v5, but with Pegon's damage into Dardez so early in that engagement, it's a 3v5 best case. Oni Warriors, they're playing the map very well right now, and you can see it reflected in the slash lines, you can see it reflected across the top of your screen. You can see reflected in ideology here as potentially Mike gets in trouble.
This is exactly what happened to Mike just a few moments ago. He gets polymorphed, unable to get into the Riptide.
Is this allowed?
It is.
Are they that much better?
I know, it's look. Knew this team was gonna be good mechanically. I still can't believe just how good this Oni Warriors team is doing in their shot calling department. They've got it figured out.
We got to figure out who their caller is.
I know. Well, Pegon in the pregame said that him and, well, it's obvious, him and Panitom tend to do a lot of the talking with this team. And I guess that was what our conversations were around the Oni Warriors. So it feels like in the past Pegon's a bit more quiet, but maybe given the opportunity can step up and be more vocal, and maybe Panitom falls into that category as well. And these two have just been attached at the hip in the early game. Initiation connecting, Netrioid now on the board. This Oni Warriors team off to a fierce start here in the finals of the Kickoff tournament.
And I love this adaptation from Panitom, where so usually we see Mercury go towards Rage in first slot so we can stack it up as quick as possible. Panitom says, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to stack up a Rage. We're making our plays now. I don't have my eyes set for 15 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now, so Bladed Boomerang immediately boosts his DPS on objective, keeps him involved in the team fight, will give him the 1v1 potential into LASBRA. He's able to find it here as well.
Take it now. LASBRA has Blink still, no beads for the Daji, but Palau is up. Panitom does have beads.
He just let it pull him. He's so smart.
Won't use Sonic Boom, charged up. Realizing there's no real threat on that side of the map. Pegon's gonna step forward, 2 levels up over Dardez. Will this final judgment hit? Won't let it go. Instead, it's Jake tanking up a tier 1 tower, dropping it down to sub half HP. If you're on a different page, though, is Panitom. He's in the River's Rebuke here. Great opportunity for the Jade Dragons. Dardez will get the kill, but it's a tower shot that does the last bit of damage. That's nearly a turn and out from Panitom. Just moments away, inches away from working out. Jake stunned. Not burned, though. Dashes away to the Bastion. It's only 1 for the Dragons.
Pegon slips by, forced to use the beads, but SOT's got the flank. This might be a reinitiation call, Dave.
Where's the final judgment go? That's going to be most of your
He's
damage
stuck.
here. Mike takes all of it, and SOT notches the kill. And my goodness, the Oni Warriors, they only lose 1 there, despite individually looking like a bunch of them were going to go down one time or another. Netrioid's under a bit of pressure. LASBRA in full. They've got damage for Netrioid. And so the Jade Dragons, Myth, they are able to scrap back effectively here. not shrinking up the gold much, but at least keeping the kills somewhat equal.
It was an expensive kill, though. Potentially, Panitom could try and get involved once more. Has to be worried about where LASBRA is positioned, so instead takes the consolation prize of the neutral farm. And just takes the wave as well. The Oni Warriors have done so much in the early, have done so much on the objectives and on the map, that even with these small scraps going over to the Jade Dragons, just have not been able to claw their way back into this game just yet. Experience individually in places all right for the Jade Dragons. Dardez in particular, only about a half level down, half level out of the jungle, even a lead out of the duo lane for the Jade Dragons so far as experience is concerned. But doesn't it just feel like Pegon now, a Spear of the Magus finished, as well as Desolation and Doomorb, is just doing too much damage, is too mobile to be dealt with. SOT has shown that his ultimate's doing upwards of 40–50% of Mike's HP bar as well when allowed to full channel it. The threats of the Oni Warriors being diversified between both SOT and Pegon, with Panitom scaling, makes it hard for the Jade Dragons to find that one pick and say, that's the guy we need. Is it going to be Pegon every time? Is it SOT? Is it Panitom? I think it needs to be all three.
It got to be. It's a hard team to nail down. I'm wondering where this Frenzy is going to be used for the Oni Warriors. There's a Gold Fury up, but a Pyro is going to be up shortly, and there's also a Fire Giant on the other side of the map. Now remember, the Dragons in their set yesterday, they were not a team that shied away from a 15 or so minute Fire Giant. I have to imagine, that being said, the Oni Warriors wouldn't be a team that'd be worried about that either. But you'd love to have that Frenzy to add some additional burn if you're going to pull the big objective. But with 3 across the map, that also means maybe the Jade Dragons have an opportunity to answer back one or another.
Take a peek at Mike's build. Struggling for survivability, but regardless, moves in towards the Spear of Desolation. It's a whole lot of power. Got some penetration early. Yemoja, good at leveraging it, but gotta think the Oni Warriors take notice and say, hey, Mike's been squishy and he's staying squishy.
Yep.
Could just continue to jump on him. Now he's taken over to level 12. Opportunity to pick up beads.
Wasn't a 15-minute FG, but it is a 16-minute Fire Giant Frenzy used by the Oni Warriors. They have
Just
2
Mike.
Pyromancer bombs. If Awesome Jake wants to use them here, Mike steps forward, but he's into the Pillars of Agony, and the Oni Warriors will get the FG. It's a double detonation from Awesome Jake to grab the objective and a kill onto Mike as well. Oni Warriors, they have kept their foot pressed. They'll get Fire Giant on all 5 members.
Mike dead for another 15 seconds. Vote shows himself on left, so you've got the opportunity to push mid. I don't think you can go into the tier 2 just yet. Want to reset, spend up that gold, maybe even check.
Vote's
neutral
2 levels
farm.
up.
Vote's got a lead, but Vote hasn't really been in the fight, has he? He has not left his lane.
Is that your opportunity, you think, if you're the Dragons, playing around the 2-level lead that Ishtar's got?
Well, the Jade Dragons are going to choose where to play.
Or are you just going to get smacked by Pegon and...
I mean, Pegon's got really good ranged artillery damage. Would make it difficult for Vote to get involved. It's defense. I think that's really where the Jade Dragons need to set their eyes. Where are the Oni Warriors going to push? Where do we draw our line in the sand? You've got a Merlin on your team, so that line in the sand is wherever you choose it to be. I imagine around these tier 2 towers. Still going to be difficult for the Oni Warriors to siege into this. Vote's got a high DPS build already. Deathbringer finished up. He picks up the Envenomed. Go to deal with some of these HP shields, maybe a Blood Forge taken away. As we start to move a little bit further into the build. Play around him, keep Vote alive. But I think Dardez has got to be your biggest piece on defense. Vote, of course, very important and does have a lead, but when it's at this portion of the game, your Merlin's your king.
Yep. Well, Dardez has, hung in there. Pegon, 2-0-3, all 5 affected kills. 3 of 4, though, for Dardez. A tier 1 item compared to the tier 2 of Pegon's, your real difference maker here, but the build, other than that, the exact same. I'll call it upgraded beads for Pegon if we're really splitting hairs, and it could matter if those beads get burned.
Mike again?
Mike wishes he had beads. Just hits level 12, and we'll see what he ends up picking up in his second relic slot, but 4 of the 6 kills onto the Yemoja have been difficult sledding for the Jade Dragon support. Netrioid's going to solo push down a tier 2 on left before the rest of his team joins him. His pick composition is turned into objectives time and time again.
Mike's been level 12 for a while. Maybe it's an active decision to hold on to the Horn Shard. Wants that additional CDR, I suppose. Feels like beads could help out a lot, though, especially when you're getting picked by Panitom and SOT as consistently as he has been. Mike's respawned. He's walked out of base. He's not picking up the relic. This is an active decision.
Yeah, I mean, Doug hovers the Deso for good reason. Maybe some synergy with all of that, and you're just spooling through your cooldowns.
She don't have cooldowns.
What?
Yemoja doesn't have cooldowns.
What do you mean?
Like, her abilities
Yeah,
don't
right, they
have
use
cooldowns.
Omi, right.
Yeah, no, that's mana. Like, there is 0 cooldown on every Yemoja ability.
Right.
Except for the ultimate.
Right. Maybe wants his ults more.
Yeah, just needs that ult up.
I guess. Well, Deso is good for ults. We've talked about that over the course of the weekend a few times.
It's 6 seconds off on every assist. I mean, that's significant. Kill everybody. That's 30 seconds off of your ultimate.
Well, we'll see. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt for another pick or two, and then I'm having the conversation about
At this rate, those pick or two are going to come pretty quick.
Right.
He was at 9 stacks on Prophetic 5 minutes ago. We're on 12 now.
Well, that's the argument that's been made with a lot of support builds, right? Is once you get Prophetic fully stacked, you tend to feel just tanky enough where you can get a little greedy. I don't know if Mike's been feeling that way just yet. A lot of the picks onto the Yemoja. It's been difficult, though. I mean, Netrioid, Panitom, Pegon, they've all been layering their ultimates just on top of Mike, and it's hard to get out of that. Oni Warriors will get both of the objectives on the map. Primal Fury and the Pyromancer as well. Fire Giant falls off. Next one respawns. Nearly 10k down, Miff. I'm not sure the Dragons have the leg to really step up and defend this FG.
Silver linings where they lie. Vote's doing okay. Even with Netrioid on the other side. Dardez not too far behind. Next bit of itemization going to help him out a good deal. Rada Tahuti. A little bit of penetration, ton of power. But it just feels like a race against the clock, doesn't it? The Oni Warriors, they're just...
He got Sunder.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's big. I don't think it's big, though. I don't think it's big, Dave. He's going to get locked down. What's the Sunder going to... How's it going to help him?
For what it's worth, I think we're nitpicking a relic that's not going to turn around a 10,000 gold
no, you're
deficit,
right.
you know?
You're right.
I mean, I'm not sure anything saves the Jade Dragons from the pit that they're in right now. Pegon, Netrioid, Jake, 3-man the Fire Giant. An opportunity for a pick, though, onto SOT. He'll get stunned down by Vote, has beads. Half of his health is missing. He's in some trouble here, but watch the Oni Warriors run down the right side of the map.
No way!
Oh, it's devastating for LASBRA. And now Panitom is here, and he might 2v1 as well. Sot in a 3 versus 1 gets a kill on the LASBRA, trades 1 for 1.
Certainly
Panitom
not.
sticks around.
Okay.
And the Major Luck nearly hits. Vote almost drops. Dragons do find a 2 for 1 on left, but sent 3 members over there to get it done.
Sot is maybe the most prideful player I've ever seen. He could have blinked out. He could have just walked the other direction. Instead, decides to take the 1v3. Buys time for exactly this. Right side bird's just gone.
Yeah, it is. Nika might be as well. Final judgment, almost.
That's
Pegon,
the first miss.
Absolutely crushing this game. 11,000 damage. Next highest is SOT at 9,000. So it's a costly play from the Jade Dragons. You get 2 of those Fire Giant buffs gone, but you've lost massive piece of your base in the right side Phoenix.
Oh, man. Where do the Jade Dragons go from here?
Game 2.
It's starting to feel like it, isn't it? I mean...
I don't know, Vote. Look, Vote's 402.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dardez still just 1 tier of an item behind. Although, wait, no, he gets Tahuti. I don't think he's upgraded his... No, he hasn't upgraded his starter, so call it a starter upgrade behind, which is pretty big.
Still Runic Bomb in pocket for the Oni Warriors. They've broken the base very early in this game.
Do you think they can just drop Runic Bomb, auto-attack the Phoenix a couple times and walk away? You think it's that simple at this point for the Warriors?
No, you still have backdoor protection, so you got to get the minion wave in first. If there were one more poly, there were one more poly on the side of the Oni Warriors, I think it's pretty simple, but the Jade Dragons have Merlin. That's the silver lining.
There you
go. You gotta pray Dardez just has massive damage outpouring from him in this next couple of team fights. We'll see it. It's gonna be tested real soon. The Oni Warriors, they don't give you a lot of time to breathe.
They don't. And when you know that you can 2v1, 1v3, why not split up your siege a little bit? This is where Vote could be in some trouble. If Pegon can step forward, find a couple of those enhanced ranged autos, that's really going to hurt this Ishtar. Dardez over here on left as well. Mid lane Phoenix takes a bit of damage. The Runic Bomb is over in the mid lane at the moment with Panitom. Difficult decision making here for the Jade Dragons. Dardez and
just
clipped down. Final Judgment nearly deletes vote, and there's your opening. Rivers Rebuke, it's up from Mike. And the left side, Phoenix, an afterthought now. It's just one Final Judgment sends back the defense.
Jake decides to back it up. I thought maybe we'd head over towards mid there. You know what I'm seeing, Dave? And it's pretty simple. Pegon's doing too much. The damage output from Pegon there drops Dardez down to about 60% just with the hieroglyphic assault, and does 80 to the other.
Panitom has beads. Will he need or use them? Sonic Boom is up. This is a nice pick. SOT falls. Jade Dragons give themselves a little breathing room, and actually it's right when the Fire Giant drops off. So you have this minute cooldown time where the Jade Dragons can maybe afford to step forward, ward up a little bit, if that's what their mindset tells them. But with split fire minion waves, Fire Giant defense is going to be very difficult anyway, especially at this gold deficit.
Maybe the Jade Dragons just stay out on field, try and grab that Fire Giant before SOT respawns. 20 seconds on respawn.
5 on the FG.
Takes about 15 seconds to walk to the Fire Giant pit. Nope, too late. You've already head back to base. Had to defend it. The Oni Warriors, they get to just pull this one for free. If Nika dies, it's GG, I think. This is a very high-risk hover by Nika. Maybe throw out the ultimate from a range, but you cannot lose your life.
This would be the third Fire Giant of the game at 25 minutes. Previous 2 have been for the Oni Warriors, who have been at a ridiculous pace this game. I mean, the tied-up kills only tell so much of the story here, Myth. The kills have just been more impactful for the Oni Warriors in their timing. Jade Dragons got a couple a few minutes ago over on left, but that opens up the Fire Giant siege on right. It's been the Oni Warriors asking questions, and the Dragons have answered with some individual picks, but as far as map state goes, it hasn't been all that close here in Game 1. Right side Phoenix will be back shortly. Still the Runic Bomb. 1 Phoenix standing at the moment, but relatively simple siege maybe if the Oni Warriors group is 5.
All of the Dragons' kills, 26 minutes this game, up until this point, have been exit frags. The Oni Warriors have taken their objective, taken a bird, and they're trying to leave, and the Dragons catch them on retreat. You're not able to do a whole lot with that. You need to draw your line in the sand. You need to keep this right side bird up. It's Nika defending there up against Panitom with 4-on-4 in mid.
I'm just waiting. Final Judgment, where is it? You got Aegis for both Vote and Dardez. Panitom's just going to get rid of the right side Phoenix on his own, it looks like. Pegon receives some healing from Awesome Jake. Looks like now we'll take a slight breather. Think Panitom, yes, he was able to get the right side bird. Sonic Boom could wreck this fight as well. It's just finding the slimmest of openings. All right, never mind. No Phoenix Siege necessary. All 3 gone. And what feels like an imminent Game 1 ending now for the Oni Warriors. Hell, you could just drop ship your team if you're Awesome Jake. Hide behind a wall and send everyone in onto the Titan if you feel like that's what's necessary. I think the Oni Warriors, though, feeling a bit more bold and blunt, and they might just be able to walk in.
Maybe. But the damage output from the Jade Dragons is still relatively high. Pendulum the Age is finished for Dardez, so should be able to remain involved. The Oni Warriors will show some respect here. Can't just walk into the Titan room. Not even with this massive lead. So instead, reset, spend your gold. That's 2 Phoenixes and a Fire Giant, a bit of a fight in their pockets. Just about everybody starting to hit their massive power spikes. Power pods starting to get finished up. Relics upgraded as well. Awesome Jake playing with confidence. Picks up a little bit of damage too. Where do the Jade Dragons go? It's got to be dive. You have to address Pegon. Pegon is now the biggest issue. It's become very clear. His damage from range has just prevented the backline of the Jade Dragons from following up with the front line. Have LASBRA trade himself? If maybe this Daji could just blink forward, connect the 1,000 cuts, get in with that damage. They're taking away the comeback mechanic?
Even the comeback mechanic?
They won't even let him have hope.
Nah, because rebellions, they're built on hope, Myth, you know? And we don't want the Jade Dragons to have that opportunity. Or something. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Is that Star Wars?
Sure is. Oni Warriors. A little bit of damage away from, again, knocking down all 3 Phoenixes. You're going to have 3 fire minion waves all pouring in here shortly.
It's 1 polyproc. There we go.
And poke. There it is. It's gone. You can tell the Oni Warriors playing... Oh, now you're going to have 3 Oni fire waves. Maybe that's what the Oni Warriors choose to wait for. Playing calculated, a big statement to win like this here in
Good
game number
Lord.
1. PolarBearMike taken down by Pegon in a
Both
final
run.
judgment. Hits a couple. And now the Oni Warriors sensing an opening for a game end. LASBRA up and down off to Palau. Where's Jake gonna take his team? Just over to the right. Zada's not even going back. Doesn't have teleport, but wants to be around for the rest of his team. Titan down to half.
Burning.
What a statement this is from the Oni Warriors, who have dominated game 1 and will find the opening win.
It's a 5-minute Gold Fury into a 9-minute Pyromancer into a Gold Fury immediately afterward. Just blitzkrieg by the Oni Warriors here. The Jade Dragons, it doesn't look good, but the reason Mike has so many of those deaths is because he was the only one on the scene trying to defend the objectives. Just did not have the survivability. That Yemoja hasn't really been succeeding all weekend so far. Just has not looked great for anybody. And the Oni Warriors show why. It's pretty easy to catch her out.
You know what I think is pretty wild, and I originally didn't want to call anyone out for this, but that predictions graphic, I actually predicted the Oni Warriors first, which is total. So I think it just got lost in translation
graphics
somewhere.
error? Yeah.
Yeah, I had them first, and they somehow fell to last on
Maybe the graphic like looped.
I think that's
probably
they were
what it was.
so far in first
yeah,
that it actually looped around to the back end. That's
because our graphics are spheres. Like everybody knows graphics are made on spheres.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm gonna justify this. Oni Warriors surprising a lot of teams this weekend, and Jade Dragons, the most recent team to get surprised here in game 1. When you're playing with that type of energy and edge, again, to pull a Fury, the moment it's up, 5 minutes in, you pop the Frenzy. And even then, you lose a couple members, but that doesn't really slow you down. It's a threatening Oni Warriors team who are willing to throw caution to the wind at times. Jade Dragons, though, know how to play a bit more calculated. Can they come back in game 2? Stick around to find out.
I think the best piece of advice that I've ever gotten is that it's okay to be as weird as you want to be, and if people think that's too much, then it's their problem and they should go find less.
Ditching stress and choosing to do what makes you happy over what will make you the most money, what looks the best on a resume, whatever, is gonna be the best thing I've ever been told, because what's the point if you go to bed sad every day?
Don't go to bed angry. I think that's like a good one. And whether like you want to apply that to like friends or partners or like just life in general, I think it's good, like trying to figure things out.
I was on the golfing range with my grandpa. I shanked it into the woods, got a little mad. He said, "Son, are you a professional golfer?" And I said, "No." He said, "You're not good enough at this game to get that mad. Keep going." And that has always stuck with me.
Probably best like career advice I've been given is like back when I wanted to start doing commentary, and I asked one of the pro casters that was working here at the time. I said, "Hey, I wanted to get into casting. How do I do that?" And his advice was just go do it. Like it wasn't even like work on this and find this. It was just to go out there and do it. So I guess that can also translate to life advice, is if there's something that you want to do in life, something you want to aspire and like aim towards, just go out and start doing it.
The best piece of advice I've ever gotten was to not be scared of taking the next step towards a goal, towards a dream, if the future seemed uncertain.
Don't care what people think, and a branch off of that, someone said, when you tweet or you post or whatever, wait an hour and then go look at it.
Maybe it was my grandfather on my dad's side. He had told me, surround yourself with people that I suppose maybe not of like mind, but that empower you to be a better version of yourself, because your friend group is reflective of who you are as a person. And if I were to expand on that now, having had so much time to think about it, it's that if you surround yourself with people that are bad, even if they're good to you, that doesn't mean that they're good.
Welcome back, everyone, as the Warriors continue their tear through the tournament. A 1-0 victory so far over the Dragons. We'll see how this shakes out for the remainder, Trelly, of a best-of-5 set. It's Goremizer, and of course, for those of you out there right now, I do want to take a little bit of time to send a thanks over to advanced.dg, and of course recommend you the opportunity to go over there. They have a whole slew of products, whether you want to quench your thirst, have a little snack, and of course maybe even rep them, get some comfortable clothes. All of that is available. You can go to advanced.gg, use code SMITE, and that can get you 10% off, where we have a lot of exciting products in the works with them as well, and we can't wait to show you that as the year goes on. So whether you want to get started on that now, or if you watch throughout the year as the products roll out, I'm excited to be working with them. I'm sure everybody is, and you've noticed the little cups we got hanging around on the set. Of course, I got Trelly on the desk with me, also with your own little cup.
Sure.
The Warriors, though, win this one. Whatever they've been drinking, I want some of that because it has been working pretty well for them right over the last couple of days, man. This team has really dialed it up, and that game just furthers this beyond.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at the draft, and I thought, you know, if you can get to Pegon, if you can get to this Thoth, they don't have that much damage, but Pegon goes undying. I mean, how are you – this Thoth is free casting, and that is one of the benefits of that pick. If you are just staying in the back line, dishing out so much damage, it is so difficult to win a team fight. LASBRA tried many times to get to this Thoth, but I think the entirety of the Warriors were threats. SOT was still doing an incredible amount of damage. Awesome Drake, I think, was playing Peel very well. And this objective style of play that we certainly did not expect from them, the 5-minute Gold Fury into the early Pyro, into the, I believe, 16-minute Fire Giant. How many play styles does this team have? You know, it wasn't as bloody. It wasn't as bloody as we thought. I mean, a 3-3 at this point. We were shooting for 25 kills. Didn't quite get there, but it was objective-minded, completely different, same sort of style of picks, but I can't imagine the Oni Warriors, I mean, or in this case, the Jade Dragons were ready for that style of play.
And you know what has caught my eye, and very specifically like what you said, where it's how many playstyles does this team have? I think that's really what is pulling my attention, because looking at this team, how they played against the Warriors, or sorry, against the Ravens, was not something that instilled a lot of confidence in me, right? Like watching that game, they played to the Ravens. They played that kind of style, and it maybe wasn't as clean as what we saw. Then when they come in, they played in a way that beat the Kings, and then now they're playing in a way that allows them to beat the Dragons. They have enough to just do a little shimmy shake towards whatever their opponent is going to be. It also helps, you know, when you have someone like Pegon on your team who quite literally dumpsters everybody else's damage numbers. I mean, you could combine two players, any two given players in there, and it's still barely, if even, reaching the number that he was able to put up on the Thoth. So you're getting massive damage numbers out of your mid lane, really good performance play, really good control over the objective. I think that the Warriors, like you said, whatever they're doing it right so far this weekend. We'll see if they can keep that streak up in game number 2. Dragons, Warriors, the fight goes on. The Dragons will be first pick this time around. Now, the Warriors, Trelly, it has been shown, do not necessarily have an Aphrodite in the pocket that I think they feel confident with.
Correct.
And they answered my
correct.
my question, which was, when do they ban it? They've been banning it from first pick, so where do you go for it there in second? And the answer was immediately. They want to make sure that Mike doesn't get that. Mike had told us that they had been doing incredibly well with it when they practiced with this Afro. And they got to the point where they were just, like, trying to practice. Like, they were like, you know what, let's just get rid of it. Like, we don't want to play it. We don't want them to play it. Like, let's just try to practice without it. We don't expect there's going to be a lot of Afro. And so far, that has been the case. Hades, Horus, and now the Yemoja getting banned out by the Dragons. So despite the fact that she did not win, not something they want to give up. But the Hades and the Horus, Trelly, those are just straight up respect bans.
Yeah, and as they should. I think Sot has earned that ban at this point. No way you're banning Thoth. You have to adapt your playstyle to deal with Thoth. You don't ban away Pegon at this point. He just has too many gods. There is a chance that the Jade Dragons pick that Hebo, the one they took away in game number 1. Maybe they grab it for themselves. I'm sure that LASBRA is able to pilot it in the jungle. I mean, Dardez doesn't play it too often, but you know, everyone's got a Hebo in the back pocket, so maybe it's a pseudo ban. Taking it away from Pegon could be the strat. Either way, something's got to change. And I think I figured it out. I want to see Oxy's notebook. I think somehow he's got all the tricks of the Oni Warriors just sitting there, and I want to read what he's writing because I still have no idea how to pin down the strategies of the Warriors. The Jade Dragons are going to take the Terra, which of course leaves that Hebo open. You know the Oni Warriors are going to grab that one.
Yeah, I think the Terra, though, has been a very prominent pick. You had mentioned, you said Dardez, hasn't really been someone who plays the Hebo.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, I wonder how many times. Because, like, you mentioned it, and I was like, have I ever seen him play it? To answer the question, he has played it twice in his entire career. 1.1 KDA, so the numbers right there, not too great. The 50% win rate, so win one, loss one. Maybe not anywhere near the kind of hope of, let's take that away from them. Versus the other side where you get the Hebo. Only played a few times, or at least 10 times for Pegon, but after yesterday, yeah, man, I'm letting him play it whenever he wants. He can have it. Cernunnos gets locked in alongside that. Something very simple, very straightforward for Netrioid. But it is the Susano and the AMC for the Dragons. And Trelly, that AMC, something tells me it's going mid.
Yeah, something does tell me. He's played the Hebo twice, but I think he's played the AMC at least 3 times. Definitely,
at least 3.
Definitely more than that. A little bit of an issue, though. I don't love the matchup. I mean, AMC, he uses those slows to try and catch up to his opponent, sort of outrange them. Hebo has a lot of range, has the immunity to the slow, and has a delete button for the AMC. So I think Dardez is probably playing to shred tanks with that ultimate, kind of stay away from Pegon. But if I've learned anything from watching him on the Hebo, he finds a way. He finds a way to get to the back line more often than not. I like the Susano, though, does deal with it quite well early game, and with that jet stream, you can sort of bait out the water spout, teleport behind it. If you can juke a crushing wave, then you're definitely winning that 1v1. So good plays all around here from the Jade Dragons. And another thing, the Terra actually has a sneaky good matchup into Hebo. You're knock-up immune when you put those stones down.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to land that root, and you're either using beads or ulting out. Those are pretty much your options, because if you notice, Pegon usually goes blink. It's not a beads Aegis double safety game. He wants to go in. So if you're taking away your biggest tool of safety just off a root from Terra, a lot more CC can come into play later.
Definitely. Maybe something to be worried about if you're the Warriors, although with the way they've been playing, maybe the Dragons still need to be worried just about the damage output. Nox was locked in as their 3rd pick. Presumably for Jake, considering how much he has liked going to this pick. And maybe in the area of, well, if you're going to try to run away, if you're an AMC, if your damage is going to come from maybe some abilities, we'll silence it out. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a damage debuff as well, considering the ult. They ban out Odin, which makes sense given their draft, as well as the Guan Yu. Other side, Fenrir. And there's that Bakasura getting the respect that it commands. So Panitom has a little less to work with, but a lot to look at before he gets his lock in. Hercules picked up for the Warriors going over towards SOT.
I do like the Hercules. I mean, when you have the Hades band away and it looks like the Warriors have taken away that Guan Yu, SOT's Herc is something to be feared, especially in a matchup like this. And because the Baka is a direct counter to the Susano early, you want to take that one away, make sure that LASBRA doesn't have a rough time. I think that's a good call. But in doing so, you give Panitom all the driving force here to pick some decent matchups for himself. I wouldn't be surprised if even he went to the Daji. I think it's a good matchup for it with all the CC immunity lacking thereof here for the Jade Dragons. But it's so much CC already from the Nox, from the Hercules, from the Cern. You gotta assume a Beads Birding comp is starting to form here for the Oni Warriors. So anything like a Hunbats that can really take advantage of those beads being down could still be scary on the right side of your map. But the Jade Dragons look like they're going towards Double Hunter. When they have an AMC, that's usually the call. I'm wondering what vote would go to this late in the draft. Of course, Ishtar is still available. That's usually the call for most of these ADCs when they're playing up against Cern. But it looks like it's going to be the Surtr here for Nika, and actually the Chiron, however. That's interesting. They're trying to outrange the Hebo. Maybe Typhoon from a distance, try and snipe him in the air, never let him get close to you. It could work. Trying to keep people away is a great way to not die to him.
Right, if you can't hit you, then you're going to be fine. The damage output should be there. Thor, forgotten and let through. 4 games, 50-50 on the win rate. Trelly Surtr, though.
Yep.
Been an interesting pickup throughout the weekend. Has not done maybe as well as honestly some of the newer gods are expected when they finally get to jump into competitive. Where does he stand specifically, like matchups versus Hercules? I don't think he's going to have a lot of trouble. He's survivable, right?
Yep.
So team fight-wise, what's he bringing to the table that can maybe help out? Specifically dealing, as you said, maybe with the Hebo, now with the Thor as well.
Well, the benefit of Surtr is he's sort of like Yorm in that he can go in, he can do his damage, and then he's got that escape button with the ultimate. But the issue, unlike Yorm, is that the ult doesn't go as far. You can't really run away. You got to make sure your team is there to help bail you out, or you're just going to get chased down. Surtr is definitely a lane bully, but Hercules really excels when you try to hit him with some tick damage, stack up his passive, which Surtr unfortunately has a lot of. I imagine it's sort of an unfun lane. I don't think it's going to be too much scrapping. It's going to be a lot of clearing, running away from each other. You know, Golden Blade Hercules doesn't really care about
anything.
Like, using anything. Yeah, so I'm thinking LASBRA is either going to say, hey, we're going to camp that lane, or I'm leaving you alone on a complete island, and we want to deal with this Hebo, make sure he doesn't get to late game. It's not a difficult, or it is very difficult to try and keep Hebo down, though, because even from behind, he still does so much damage.
Yeah, something that when he's able to get the ball rolling, and from behind, you say that, will we see him fall behind is maybe a better question.
Yeah.
Knowing what the Warriors have been playing and how they've been playing, there's definitely a lot of wiggle room for him. The Nox is the one that leaves me maybe hanging a little here, Trelly. Are you thinking we're going tie set after this, or do you think the Warriors have what it takes to get up 2-0?
I mean, I like what the Jade Dragons have done, but I still have to look at the junglers. And when you are a Susano who wants to start Blink, who wants to get aggressive, and then you're up against a Nox and a Thor, that gets a little bit more scary.
Yeah.
Panitom has the ability to say, hey, I'm going up. If LASBRA doesn't have beats, he's dead, period. Like, I will not be mincing words here. If you land Anvil of Dawn in Susano, he gets 100 to 0'd. Pretty much once your mace item gets finished. So that's probably the plan here. And again, the Nox makes it so much more difficult to get to the backline. So I think the Oni Warriors will be able to play around their beats pretty well. But you can see where the Jade Dragons try to counter everything they've been throwing at them.
Definitely picking up their counters, doing their best to make sure this one goes long. It's 1-0 for the Warriors now. We'll see the score and what it lies at after game number 2.
Wonder how the Oni Warriors choose to play this game. Do you double down now? Do you shove even more pressure if you feel like you can? It's going to be hard to do, man, if there was a lot of pressure from the get-go. A 5-minute Gold Fury, not easy to get faster than that. But you maybe figured during picks and bans, you and I were talking. You and I do talk off camera every once in a while. Could be an opportunity for the Oni Warriors to get aggressive around this Thor.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I had thought that maybe the Oni Warriors had just simply won the draft, and I hadn't even looked at the Jade Dragon side of the screen just yet, and I had said it to you. Because I saw Pegon on Hebo and Panitom on Thor. And I was done. I was done thinking about it after that, because that is, it just feels criminal, doesn't it? Considering the performances individually that these two have had throughout this entire event so far. Panitom single-handedly carrying the first set with his Thor. Pegon just ripping back a comeback up against the Camelot Kings with multitudes of 3-4-man ultimates on this Hebo. The Jade Dragons, they're going to have to play carefully. Trelly hypothesized on the desk that the answer is kill him from a range, and I think that is certainly a viable option. LASBRA can start it with a Typhoon, have Vote finish it with a Centaurus, have Nika create some space at the same time, and maybe Pegon mitigated in what he's able to do on the map. Hebo, of course, essentially just an assassin that does magical damage. But that's not the portion of the game that the Oni Warriors have made their money in. It's not the 5-on-5. It's not the mid-game. It's the early. And so often, these mid laners have fallen prey to a solo kill by this Hebo. SOT on his Hercules have done the exact same thing. Panitom on the Thor might just take over the match on his own.
Well, Pegon's been doing the solo kill thing since he joined the league just last year. Uh-oh. Could it be a first blood? Oh, it's terrible start for the Jade Dragons. Netrioid goes in on Vote. And it is a kill onto the Jade Dragons AD carry. Jake plus Netrioid. It was Pegon plus Panitom in game 1. And this one starts off terribly for the Dragons on left.
Yeah, easy to forget that Netrioid, in his stint on the Kings, was the soloingest hunter in the league. He had got the most individual lane kills. Continues to do so once more. First blood start for the Oni Warriors. And Cern, a god that can really leverage a lead. One of the more aggressive hunters. I think maybe Ishtar, the only one that I would say beats him out in raw solo potential. Could leave PolarBearMike in an awkward situation where you want to hover around Vote a little bit more, but if that's the case, then you're not shutting down Pegon. And if you're not shutting down Pegon, you're probably just losing. Jade Dragons got to find an answer. They got to find it quick. Get a bounce back.
Nika 1 level down already to SOT. If that pull had connected, Nika would have been in some trouble. Panitom over on the right side of the map. Wonder if maybe it was a bit caught off guard. Jade Dragons, a horrific emblem, changed things up over on that dual lane scrap.
So patient.
Mike and Vote, they're going to have some help from LASBRA here. Jake does not have horrific anymore. Mike also does not have frenzy. Vote, I believe, just used the beads. So maybe just enough pressure from Jake and Netrioid despite having the jungler close by. Have to keep this Chiron in an awkward spot. We haven't seen much Chiron myth, if any at all, this weekend. Potentially some safety for Vote, you know, later on in the game. Centaurus, ultimate, not used necessarily for safety, but good poke damage. Panitom being chased down by Dardez and Nika. Beads already gone from the Thor. Hammer will not get out. And Nika maybe with the burn, just the last bit of damage there. Pegon's going to get chased down by LASBRA as well. Water hands, and it's a double kill for Nika. In early signs of life from the Jade Dragons in game 2. Solo and Jungle playing together for 2 kills.
Now SOT left to defend his blue buff on his own. Likely won't be able to stick in the fight. Dual lane, though, a different story.
Vote is just getting caught off guard here. Jake hits a tether. Mike just in range for the body blocks, but Jake might just get it done anyway. Vote gallops away. Frenzy used by Mike once more, but now he's under threat of maybe dropping as well. Another root out from Jake. Net dashes forward. Jake gets the kill, but Mike answers back in kind. That tells you what type of game the Oni Warriors are playing here. We're dashing under the tier 1 tower at 3 minutes.
No fizzles in my game, okay? Nobody's limping back to base. We're both going back in a coffin, says Netrioid. That a wild pace, to be sure. I'd missed it.
Laz got a kill.
Yeah,
LASBRA
right? Picks up a kill. I believe that was on to SOT, who's trying to defend his blue buff on the opposite side of the map. This is what I was talking about earlier with these Oni Warriors games. Gotta feel bad for Doug trying to track everything that's happening because everything's happening everywhere all at once.
Pegon invading the red buff. Looks like Pegon was able to steal away the red buff as well. So a nice little play there from the Oni Warriors mid laner. Mike ulting in, over in mid. Panitom's here, misses the wall, but still enough damage. Dardez doesn't drop, but Pegon sure does. Panitom's got to get back. But is Panitom going to go for this?
Wouldn't.
No way, he doesn't have the range to get over here now. He'll just reposition in case Dardez mispositioned. This is maybe the Jade Dragons myth trying to just match pace, trying to match what the Oni Warriors did in game 1.
And so far, doing a good job of it, catching them off guard. You know, if you want to go all the way back to where that starts off for the Jade Dragons, it was the back camp invade for Panitom. I was surprised that the Dragons were A, aware of it, and B, ready to punish it. It's Dardez who catches Panitom over the wall with a slow. Nika makes the rotation as well. Just really good presence of mind from the Jade Dragons, realizing that's exactly where the jungler was, hovering on that right-hand side for so long. And since then, the Oni Warriors have been a bit off balance, trying to regroup and reestablish their own death ball. So with the match establishing 2 distinct lines, duo lanes still heavily favoring the Oni Warriors, been allowed to get aggressive, and mid to solo right now favoring the Jade Dragons. I wonder where we see that tipping point. Where do you start to leverage that? Can the Jade Dragons stall out the game in duo long enough that they can look at the Pyromancer? Are they going to try and bring the fight over to duo and alleviate it? Only time will tell.
Everyone on the Dragons, except for Nika, stacking right now. A couple Transcendences, Gauntlet of Thieves, Devourer's Gauntlet. SOT has not had a great game so far in game 2, and that'll continue. A killing spree for LASBRA. A couple of them onto the solo laner of the Oni Warriors. That's been the obvious spearhead here for the Jade Dragons. Right side of the map. Put pressure onto Sot. See if it turns into anything, and it's turned into a few kills so far.
Vote left alone. Cleanses the Shadow Lock. Uses the beads as well. That should get him out. But his dash was caught.
Oh no, Netrioid's got autos, and he's slightly slowing him down. Vote channels in and out of the ultimate. A lot of utility off of this Chiron. And so on one side of the map, the Jade Dragons get all the pressure. On the other side of the map, Jake and Netrioid have just been a nuisance. It's going to be a rotation out, though, from the Jade Dragons. LASBRA here. But with the buffs here in Season 10, you can leash them all the way away. A little less risky to be invading the purple buff this time.
Who got the dash?
Jake sends out his ult. Stinger's down. Dardez will pick it up.
Panitom.
Panitom.
No chase.
He might go back in.
Nah, out of range here. Dunks in front of PBM. Still has the hammer. Should be able to make his way out. But maybe a reinitiation.
Oh, the wall and the stun and the hammer and all of it connects with LASBRA. Pegon's here as well. Water hands are through. Where's the crushing wave? Will he use it? Dardez back behind the bastion. Mike low. Jake a double kill. Maybe a third around the corner. But again, we're underneath the Tier 1 tower. A double kill for Netrioid. And the Oni Warriors rally on left. They'll pick up 4.
The towers do more damage now, Dave. They hurt more. Doesn't seem like the Oni Warriors are concerned. Maybe they didn't read the patch notes. They do not care. That Tier 1 on left has seen more action.
It only emboldens them.
Yeah.
They want to take more damage.
Yeah, you think you could stop me? Yeah, these guys are berserkers. That really is all it is. Every time there's a bit of fight back, they fight back
LASBRA
twice
get
as
something
hard.
done here? There's no
Should
mana.
be able to.
No mana.
No, he's got them both.
Get a pull in.
He's got
He's
them both.
rooted in place. He's got them
Okay.
both. He's got them both.
Okay.
He's got them both. We can breathe. Needed to happen. Needed to happen. LASBRA, red HP.
Oh, Panitom's dead too, surely.
Panitom on the shield buff. Mike just might be able to
out.
get it done. He'll hammer away. I don't know. You're cursing or not cursing. I can't. You didn't curse Laz. You nearly
If
cursed
Hindu
Laz.
Man's listening, I have not cursed a single time.
No, you have. No, you're right. Wrong verbiage. Purple buff pulled all the way back by Mike and stolen by Mike, and Panitom stepping forwards because he's got a little assistance on its way back from base. Oh, Centaurus. I think he hit Panitom, but Vote does too much.
Did he laugh before he got the kill? I'm pretty sure
Maybe.
I heard Netrioid let a couple VELs
All right,
fly.
this is chaos. We got to recenter ourselves for
Okay.
just a moment.
Little Tai Chi.
That's right. Over under right. LASBRA and Nika, they'll invade blue. And we can take a breather after a 17 kill, 8.5 minutes of game 2.
Wow.
Break it down, man. Do your
No
best.
time. Talk about this.
Yeah, Nika's going to get chased down by Sot. Nika is 2 levels ahead, and so that's a nice side of the map here for the Jade Dragons. Surtr, something we've seen a little bit of. What's not a nice side of the map for the Jade Dragons is left, however. That's where Oni Warriors will continue to make their gold. It's not a 5-minute Fury, but it is a 9-minute Fury in game 2. Oni Warriors have found their openings. Could be a fight, though. Dardez rotating over from mid, walls up from Mike. No one in
He's
range
stuck.
to get stunned.
He hit him.
Pegon. Well, crushing wave forward. Oh, but Panitom nearly saves the life of his mid laner. Does help out with a trade out kill. Does not take the teleport forward on the hammer. Maybe not knowing exactly where Vote is. Be a 1-for-1 trade.
Oh, he's
Both
stuck.
mids down. Just backpedaling a bit. These thin margins for both teams. Not wanting to overextend.
Oh, man, I thought
For
maybe
once.
Panitom would stick around once more and try and catch out some of these lazier backs instead. Steps back, sees if maybe he can steal some farm on the right-hand side. Dave, I couldn't tell you where to start the breakdown, man. There's been so much action. I'm going cross-eyed.
When was the last? I mean, the last time we broke down was what, the tier 1 tower dive on left.
Yep.
And then since then we fought more. There's been a Gold Fury fight.
gonna fight more
we're
now.
fighting over in solo. It'd be great to shut down Nika. Panitom does not have Anvil of Dawn, so he won't chase down the relatively low health Surtr. Feels like a lot of this game, and what feels really bad for LASBRA, I was going to say, lands on Nika. What feels bad for LASBRA, he's 5-1-2. Panitom's still got the 1-level lead. Panitom's been farming up and somewhat matching the pressure assists-wise, just 6 affected kills instead of 5 actual true kills. The Oni Warriors jungler somehow has matched what LASBRA's been able to do.
And LASBRA, being 5-1, I believe has a ridiculous bounty on his head in spite of legitimately being behind Panitom. Panitom is worth less to kill.
You're saying suffering from success?
he might be legitimately. Panitom is worth less to kill than LASBRA. That much is certain. But he's bigger impact on map.
Wonder how worth it Dardez is because the wall is perfect. Down to the pixel from Panitom.
He wouldn't.
Yeah, but Miff, he would.
He
And
wouldn't.
might. And I
Don't
think
do
he,
it.
I think he might.
He tried.
He does go forward. And Mike will walk away this time. LASBRA's here. 5-1-2 on the Susano. What can he get done?
Ooh, pull's
Pull out of
good.
nothing, but the pull back. Saves the hammer away. Nika's over from Solo. Water hands from Pegon. Did a decent amount of damage. Do more plus Deso. Feels A-OK for the Oni Warriors mid laner. All of this, Myth. 1 kill deficit even for the Oni Warriors. Still, 2.5, nearly 3,000 gold in the lead.
Have I missed this? Pegon forgoes beads in first slot, actually has blink. 0-4, so I can't say he hasn't been punished, but a level up on Dardez nonetheless. What do? You can't kill him. It makes him stronger.
This is a fun team to watch, this Oni Warrior squad. Probably not a fun team to play against, where it feels like the Dragons have been able to scrap. But again, it's been less meaningful as far as gold and objectives. Pyromancer pulled and taken by the Oni Warriors now as Gold Fury a few moments ago. They get a tier 1 tower over in the duo lane side of the map a little bit before that, and that's your gold lead, right? There's all these neutral objectives that the Oni Warriors have been able to do. Dragons hoping to limp into the late game at this point. So I'm not sure you're keeping pace with the objective calls around the fights that the Oni Warriors have been making.
Never let them know your next move, Dave, and the Oni Warriors embody that
Do you embody
idea.
that?
No, me personally, I'm predictable.
Yeah.
But there's a method to the madness. This is twice now, 2 games in a row where the Oni Warriors have just been on time for their rotations. Netrioid comes over to the Pyromancer. SOT was making rotations over towards Gold Fury in the previous game very early in the match.
Vote's in trouble.
Vote's in trouble
And wouldn't you guess it, an Oni Fury will be up here in the next 10 or so seconds. Vote will go down.
He's dead.
Who gets the kill? Panitom grabs it. Nika receiving a gank. It's SOT who's going to drop. Maybe for the 3rd time this game. No, he'll live. But LASBRA's got some chase down. Up and over goes Nika. You're spending so much. What's that? Oh my God, it's unfair. He turns around the 2 for 1. The Jade Dragons can't buy a win in game 2. He's doing it to him, and an Oni Fury on left. Sot was 0-2. That is LASBRA at 5-1 with a 2-0 Surtr, and it does not matter. The masterminds, they are rolling in your best-of-5 grand finals.
He's better at moving. His WASDs work better, man. That's the WASD.
Is that the guy who founded Apple?
That's Wozniak. Good Lord. The Oni Warriors, they're just beating them out with mechanics everywhere on the map, and now no way it's a 13-minute fire. Call it 14.
It feels like we're 20 minutes into this game, to be honest, but we're only 14 in. Oni Warriors, maybe enough of a lead and enough gusto to go for a play like that. Got the Runic Bomb. I don't know if that's helpful enough. They are baiting in the Jade Dragons. When you're playing against a team like this, Myth, I guess the argument is you don't know what the Oni Warriors are doing. They could be doing a 14-minute Fire Giant. Nika pulled and then pushed. Panitom gets out of this one, uses his beads, and a tier 2 tower. No, the tier 1 rather. Tier 1 tower off the solo lane side of the map. And again, this is where the threat could be. If you're the Dragons, you don't know. There could be, unless you know exactly where Net and the rest of the team are, there could be a consideration around the FG.
There's no way they knew where Netrioid was. He was hovering right side while LASBRA was looking for a kick. No, Dardez! No. Oh, the Aegis!
Oh, the Aegis saves the water hands. That would have been it. That would have been it from Pegon. That would have been the solo, but the Aegis perfectly timed for Dardez. LASBRA's in to finish off the kill. There's your blink, by the way, for the Hebo. No, that is knowing your damage perfectly to a T. That is one water hands, I think, just kills off Dardez there.
He overkills for sure.
And Dardez has the Aegis to keep him on the map. Small win for the Jade Dragons. So Pegon at 0-5, not worth much.
Yeah, but where do you go now? The Jade Dragons can't pull fire.
They do a 15-minute
They can't pull fire, and both neutral objectives are off the map. This is what I'm talking about, method to the madness. When the Oni Warriors go for these individual hero plays, they realize, worst case scenario, I die. Nothing else happens afterward. Crazy that they've got the wherewithal and the willingness to go for them. Best case scenario for Pegon is that he gets the kill, though, so maybe that's the trade-off. There's not a whole lot they could have done on the tail end, not with Netrioid on the left side of the map and Fire Giant, the only objective viable at this point. With Pyromancer respawning, though, keep your eyes on Netrioid. He's already on the right-hand side. The Oni Warriors, they're on the respawn. They're on the back foot, but they're there first.
Oni Warriors have made the left side of the map a wasteland, a graveyard this game. 10 affected kills for Jake. 8 affected for Netrioid. That's 2 and 5 on Vote. Pyromancer now down as well. Mike's in some trouble. This might be, you're talking last-ditch effort here.
Watch Panny.
From the Jade Dragons. You can't afford to handily lose this fight. Is Nika going back through? He is! Gotta get a kill on a Netrioid, and he's unable to do so! Net lives! LASBRA doesn't get the kill either. And the Oni Warriors rally around their AD carry. And look at the pixel of health that he's got. Well, Netrioid will go back, but now you've maybe overextended if you're the Dragons. Just able to get out with the other 4 members.
Man, I cannot fault Nika. I can't fault him for attempting that.
That is a desperation.
You need to kill Net. Yeah. He's got a massive bounty. He's their ability to do the objective. Even if you trade yourself, it's valuable. And he was so low that you got to assume that the trade would have just happened. But positioning from the Oni Warriors, CC on the tail end, Panitom's wall, SOT's punch, just enough, buys the space. And Netrioid gets out with sub 100.
Jake,
he's dead.
On the wall. Should be, is. Now it's actually threat on to Pegon. The crushing wave will get used. That's a nice wall from Panitom. Small moment that really just funnels in the Jade Dragons. And for the first time this game, never mind. Said the Dragons may be considering an objective pull, but I'm not sure you can when it's just Jake who's down.
I thought they would, but Pegon uses ultimate there to escape.
Yeah.
You've got eyes on Panitom. It's a reset nonetheless. That 5K deficit, call it 6 actually. Just enough to keep the Jade Dragons at bay.
Pull.
Do you now? Jake's
no,
on
Jake's
respawn.
about to get back up. Yeah, I'm not sure you can. Oni Warriors may end up getting this Primal Fury anyway. Wasn't the 14-minute FG. The Primal Fury will help out in maybe a 20-minute FG in a few moments. It's funny, you know, Pegon at 0-5 and 5 still feels like a big threat on this map as well. Watch out backline. Dardez got Aegis though. Vote does as well. So baiting / waiting those out going to be important. LASBRA pivotal for the Jade Dragons and their ability to come back now in this game. I say because he's 6 and 2, but I also say that he's 3 levels down, right, to Panitom, who's taking things over. Nika's pulled back, shoved back once more.
One shot.
Primal Fury is low. Centaurus has already been used here. Where's
Panitom
Panitom going to go? Might dunk down on a Nika. Sure does. Hello, goodbye.
He had Jake with him?
All at once. And Jake was with Panitom, and the Anvil of Dawn works perfectly. PolarBearMike walled off, but on the wrong side of things is Vote.
Thor stuck.
LASBRA sends through a Typhoon, hits 3, but ask him if it matters. It doesn't. Your answer. Pegon, double kill in this fight.
We're still
and
chasing.
It's bad to worse. Sots underneath a tier 2 tower, and the Primal Fury will end up going to the Warriors anyway.
The Jade Dragons try and put up a defense around the Gold Fury, but it's repositioning. SOT pulls back Nika from there. You'd think, okay, well, he at least pulled him out of the Wild Hunt, so he's not polymorph. Didn't matter. The Oni Warriors have such a lead that they're essentially just playing with their food here. Nika dropped low. Panitom and Awesome Jake make an awesome little play. Chases him out with that third ability. Delivers him to that back line, and Nika falls down incredibly fast. From there, it's the Oni Warriors all the way down, chasing out the Jade Dragons, take the objective, and the Fire Giant as well.
I think this is a fun Oni Warriors team for everyone to watch.
It's got to be fun to play against.
You think it's fun to play against? I guess that was Mike's mindset. Is he was like, look, I'm just excited to get in there and scrap a little bit today.
Losing's never fun, but if I had to choose a way to lose, you got 13 kills. Like, it looks like you're putting up a fight, maybe in spite of the resources.
That was the question. I was wondering if it's fun at all to play against. Remember this, to determine who's first seed, first pick in the draft show that we'll have later on today. As of right now, it looks like the Oni Warriors are just going to control their destiny, but in a best of 5, anything can happen, especially with the talent that the Jade Dragons have. But we are steamrolling towards a Game 3 right now that the Oni Warriors will likely be up 2-0 in. Build simply just not there. XP simply just not there. I was going to say, I think Jake is ahead of everyone experience-wise except for Vote on the Jade Dragons. It's a worrying trend, but really highlights just how out of control this game has gotten.
Jake's also unkillable. He's finished up the Mask, Prophetic Cloak, nearly fully stacked, has the Aura from Sovereignty. Generally 20 minutes in the game, we're talking about how supports are 2 items into their build. Yeah, what Mike's doing.
I was going to say.
Yeah, what Mike's doing.
They might have a Thebes, potentially a Spirit Robe.
Usually upgrade a starter maybe if you're lucky.
Maybe 1 tier of the Kusari tree.
Yeah,
you know?
no. That Jake is on a different pace right now, 3-2 and 11. Of the 16 kills, has affected 14, so active everywhere on the map. 3 runic bombs in pocket for the Oni Warriors. means that your siege is going to be just good regardless of composition. So long as you can
Drop
find them
all
all.
3.
You'll take
Drop
the
all
bird.
3 on the Phoenix.
You'll take it.
What is the answer from the Jade Dragons, though? There's 1. It pops. There's 2. It pops, and they'll save the 3rd. There's your left side Phoenix siege for the Oni Warriors. And that's what objective control gets you. They're playing the long game here.
SMITE, you're alone.
Yeah, but that's how he wants to be. He's SoloOrTroll. He wants to be alone. A lone wolf, if you will. Although he hadn't enjoyed the laning phase all that much, but I think this game has gotten a lot more enjoyable for the Hercules. Still 1 runic bomb for the Oni Warriors, should they choose to place it over in mid. They'll do so now. Middle burst, and nearly a kill onto Nika. Ultimates fly.
Panitom's up.
But the Jade Dragons got to be careful.
You got a huge one.
You could lose the game if you lose this fight. Typhoon helps out, and it's Dardez with the kill onto Pegon. And maybe some siege damage still there for the Oni Warriors, but 2 birds down, an extra pick as well. LASBRA
The
forward,
silence.
silenced out by Jake. That feels terrible.
You can't speak.
For LASBRA. Netrioid a double. He wants in on the fun as well. And how about this Oni Warriors team?
Stop!
I have diffed the Jade Dragons at every turn in game 2. And it's 1 more for Panitom. And a wave goodbye to game 2. And Oni Warriors will take a 2-0 lead.
LASBRA steps up there, says, all right, if I land the pull, we win the fight. If I land the pull, we win the fight. Jake hit him with a you can't speak.
No.
Simply be silent, my friend. Locks him down and
that's
compare.
up, he's wagging his finger.
Yeah. That is insane. And it speaks volumes to the confidence of this team to be willing to play around their mechanical skill. You can't sit in lane and say, yeah, I could rotate and help SOT, but I know he's got the 1v3. I know he's got the 1v2. He'll be able to turn that one around. Let's just go ahead, move over towards the Gold Fury. But that's the style of play the Oni Warriors have gone for. It is immense confidence not only in themselves, but in their teammates to be able to play at their same level.
I wonder if there's a chip on the shoulder of this Oni Warriors team. Every caster but me putting them second to last place in their rankings. No, look, I can't run away from my past. I also had them ranked super low. Didn't expect this from the Oni Warriors team, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that happening?
That's right, Dave.
Is this
Go ahead.
Okay, I can't hold.
No, you can hold plenty.
I can't hold.
Take the cupcakes, bud.
All right, I'm taking them. You got 2 for me?
Well, that's the tech. You're not holding it like that. For those of you not in the know at home, this is Dave Dolson's birthday.
You did that.
The big 2-8 here. So we got him
go
a
ahead.
fair deal of cupcakes
All right.
for him to enjoy. Dave, why don't you get a little bite, bud.
Can you tilt up the
I got you, bud. There you go. Yeah, make it at least unwrap it. Okay, that was just icing.
Okay, this is going to fall all over the place. It's going to fall all over the place.
We're going to save like at least 1, right? Yeah, I want 1. Thank you. Dave, that's good. That's good. Nice. I feel like you're underutilizing your right hand a bit. The left hand, yeah, come in here. Come in here. We got 1 there.
Structural integrity. Look, that's
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, keep them going. Keep them going. It's okay. No, don't say no. It's okay. We got more. We got more. We had to expense this. Mr. Hi-Rez paid for these cupcakes, bud. You cannot waste them. You got yeah. Get 1 on the head. Get 1, nice balance there. Right on the pompadour. I love that we gagged him as well. Like he can't. Yeah, that's good, Jordan. Yeah, that's a good bit of balance there. Happy birthday! Yay! Come on, get in here, guys. Get in here. Hop in the shot. Happy birthday, Dave. We can't hear you, man. Oh, he wants. All right, guys. We'll be back with a stunning conclusion, or perhaps maybe even the extension of this set right after this quick break.
Welcome to SMITE. Here's how to play. You're trying to guess the god, and we're going to give you 6 hints to do so. With each hint, you get 1 guess. These hints can be card art, item builds from the Pro League, or even the god's release date. If you guess correct, you win. It's that simple. If you're wrong, however, you move on to the next hint until you're out of hints. Seems easy enough. Then let's play.
I'm gonna get this instantly. Go ahead. I didn't get it instantly.
Who could this be? I'm just gonna random guess here. I'm gonna say Kali.
Chernobog.
Oh man, that looks tricky. Some like Egyptian green kind of vibe. We're gonna snap block ESET straight away.
That's a kneecap. Yu Huang.
Green and a little dangly dude that looks like it could be cloth or a blade. I'm gonna guess. I don't know, green, for some reason, something like this, and also that face is like super unhelpful, makes me think of like the Morgan.
Release date August 6, 2018.
I was casting Paladins, so I have a valid excuse. 2018. Got married like 3 months after this. Who screams marriage to me? I guess Hera. Hera screams marriage to me. Does she have a green skin? Hera.
2018 gods. Okay, I'm trying to think. Ooh. Baron?
Probably some kind of mage. We're gonna go with Persephone?
Yemoja?
Nothing can be risen from the ash and sulfur.
That sounds so much like Surtr, but it's not Surtr. Ash and sulfur. Who ye?
Soul. She's fiery.
Nothing can be. I just know I'm gonna get it wrong now. We're gonna go with. I know Amat has a fire skin, so we're gonna go with Amat. Okay, so we've got a weird hybrid jungle build. This looks like the kind of thing I would build.
I'm blanking on. I'm actually literally blanking on every assassin that's not Kali right now and Nemesis. So I'm gonna guess Kali just so I can get the next clue.
Gilgamesh?
I already guessed Amat. I'm gonna guess Nike.
Who else has like fire stuff? Oh, is this it's the Nemesis skin. Oh, it's Pele. That's the free Twitch Prime skin. You can get that. That's the Heist Blade Pele skin. You can get that now. You click. There's like a little thing on Twitch, like the little crown, like up there. You click on that, and you can just like redeem it like now and get it for free in game.
Last time I did this, I got first round. So we're going for first round. Pele, easy. So easy.
Pele. Yeah. I don't know how I knew that, to be honest.
Pele?
I'm getting owned. Okay, who has the Chandra skin? It's Pele.
Because this is Pillar, right?
Well, we were promised a scrap, and a scrap's what we got. It leads to a 2-0 so far lead for the Warriors. And now the question is whether or not they can close it out in 3, if the Dragons are going to push us a little bit further. Of course, if you want to push your gameplay a little bit further, then right now you should do so by, if you're on Twitch, clicking up on that little crown and redeeming the Heist Blade Pele skin. If you weren't watching during that SMITE, where, I reminded you politely then, and I can remind you politely now, you can go ahead and redeem that. It's completely free for you if you're a Prime member, and so you can make sure you can do that. There's also a whole ton of other things that you're going to get from that while you're on that page, but you're definitely going to want to make sure that you lock in and get your Heist Blade Pele skin while you still can. And of course, Trelly, while they still can, the Dragons are trying to figure out what they want to do going up against this Warriors draft so much. I think that it is just hard to do. I mean, they had Sot at 0-2-0 at one point, and he still had an insane performance by the time the game ends.
I mean, as an analyst, I said, hey, you got to deal with Pegon. Pegon was 0-5. It didn't matter. He was still doing things on the Evo. You're right. They were able to scrap. It just seemed like duo lane was the big difference maker here. Awesome Jake and Netrioid got off to a massive start.
Yeah.
The CC was so annoying to deal with, and it didn't seem like anyone on the side of the Oni Warriors minded dying for kills. Like I will dive underneath this tower. I will dash in. I do not care. We are confirming these kills. And this play was really the nail in the coffin for me. Sot is so far behind here, 0-2. Not only does he end up living for so long, just the boulder at the end to guarantee the kill. It's just a little disgusting.
I mean, to be able to find something like that, plus being able to make it so that Nika has to back off, you get to hang out in lane for a little longer, feels great. There's another one, actually, I think it's right here in the jungle. It's a rally play. Netrioid, so low in certain moments. I think it's actually one that was maybe coming up. And they all stood by. They all readied themselves, saved their carry, got a couple of kills. And it's one of those things, Mifflin had said it, if you're going to lose a game, you want to maybe lose it like this, where like the kills indicate that you're getting a lot done for your team, even if the gold is 8,000 apart. That's a lot of what the Dragons were facing against there, was just a huge, huge gap between the gold, even if they were keeping up in terms of fight. Damage numbers, finally, someone was able to stifle, as you had mentioned, Pegon. He does 14,000 this time, half as much as he's done in like the last 3 games. And yet all 14,000 of that was incredibly effective. Keeps him in line with pretty much everybody else in the game. Panitom, though, 6-2-11. We hadn't really talked too much about the jungle, but seeing what he was able to do and what he brought to the table, I think was also just another, like, Sot obviously made some big hero plays. Yep. You mentioned the duo lane. I think there were some really big dunks from this Thor that reminded people why he was getting top 6 banned prior to this game.
And that's what's annoying. If you're the Jade Dragons, thinking about picks, thinking about bans, thinking about what to do, trying to turn this set around, you know, there has been so many different win conditions here for the Oni Warriors. You can't just zone in on one specific god ban. It's not going to solve enough.
Well, they got to figure things out, and they're going to figure it out from second pick here. I got like cupcake mouth right now.
Yeah.
like my everything feels a little drier than normal. I feel
like I'm going to find frosting tonight. It's just like randomly somewhere I didn't,
Dave actually will. He'll be like,
sure.
like he's going to get home and realize there's like still a fleck in his mustache or something.
But it's his birthday, and that's what he deserves.
Yeah. I think his exact words were, "It's my birthday, I'm getting another cupcake," which is wild because he was holding 24. That seems, well, 23. Mifflin took 1. Still, maybe a little selfish of him. We'll see how selfish players get. There's something of a segue. Back into the game here in Picks and Bans. Athena, Aphrodite, and TBD from the Warriors. The other side, right now, Hades, Kern, TBD for the Dragons. The Warriors fill out their top 3, targeting Dardez one more time with a Hera ban. Leaving quite a few picks open here for first. The Dragons decide to ban out the Horus, potentially get themselves that Yemoja back again, even though it maybe wasn't the saving grace they had hoped for in game number 1. Trelly, a lot of interesting picks that we've seen. Kern, I think, has been like the go-to for the Warriors. Since that's been banned, I was going to ask where you think they go. It's going to be the Hebo. Pegon maybe saying, you know what? They shut me down and I still did really well.
Yep.
There's no way they can shut me down twice.
I mean, going 0-5 and turn it into 3-6 and still, I mean, being able to solo out Dardez, force the Aegis, it's very difficult to be able to deal with that. So we get to see the possible Susano hover in a Cupid. That would be interesting. That is a pick that we haven't seen in quite some time. So interesting, in fact. They decided against it. They're going to go for the Ishtar anyways.
So interesting, in fact, we can't have it, and we're going back to the same things we've been seeing.
Which makes a lot more sense to me, because if you pick Cupid and Susano there, I don't see a reason why the Oni Warriors don't snap lock the Baka. I think it's a pretty decent opportunity to just run through the early game. Not like you can't chase down Ishtar, but she's got a little bit more tools to try and close gap, or in this case, make the gap larger to run away. This is a pick that Netrioid's been going to, and it has been looking real clean. Pair that with Awesome Jake in the duo lane with a Nox, and it looks like Izanami will be the call. And
that's pressure, man.
That's unfortunate, because that's exactly what anyone would have guessed that duo lane would be, and it's been working extremely well for them.
Something that popped off, you had mentioned it last time around. Hell, finally getting picked up. And I was really wondering. A lot of games where she was maybe banned out, specifically trying to control Paul. A lot of games where she hasn't been talked about a whole ton. Trelly, tons of changes to heals. And of course, to Hell as well. And so, where, in your mind, where does this fall? Is this something that Mike can run? Is it going support now? Is it still mid? What does a Hell in 10-3 actually do?
Well, the way that Mike has played it in the past has been a lot of light stance and cleansing. You're sort of following around Awesome Jake. As long as you yourself, as the Nox, are not the one getting CC chained by Nox, you're able to use that cleanse to help out your team. They don't get locked down. It brings a ton of safety. But there's a few counters to that, of course, and it's number one, hey, just kill the Hell. Number two, hey, let's silence the Hell and just go on her first, which has been the strategy in the past. But when it's a tank Hell that's got a lot more protections and is playing more as a CC immuner for the team, it's a little bit more difficult to do. So I'm thinking that's maybe the call for the Oni Warriors. Try and play around Mike, make sure that he's always getting CC'd so he can't cleanse the team. You got a lot of squishy targets here. I mean, it's Agni, Susano, and Ishtar. None of them usually building any defense.
Yeah.
One bit of lockdown, one shadow lock from Awesome Jake, and I'm thinking Pegon's got a delete key just ready to go.
Well, things that changed in Hell, there's a lot, obviously, a lot of the healing, but like her switch stance, now down to a 1 second cooldown. Decay goes through walls. Her light stance passive has been adjusted, so it's what, 8% power reduction to enemies in the aura radius. So kind of like a smaller but permanent Nox ult that is going to be available. I mean, if you're trying to slow down a Hebo, hug him, I guess, as hell, and see where that goes. Bans from the Dragons, Thor and Guan Yu. Bans from the Warriors, the Hercules and the Surtr. The Dragons answer with an Agni, so it does shimmy that Hell over into the long lane.
Boy.
And then Set gets locked in alongside Bakasura. And you were mentioning Baka. We've talked about him a lot in the jungle. That one win that he has so far was the Warriors on Friday.
Yep.
How are you feeling about the Set Baka lock-in to close things out? Very squishy composition.
I liked the set in the jungle, which is what I thought at first, because I think it deals with Hell very well. Agni dashes away. You can kind of just dash to the back line, pre-beats his stun, and kill him also. But Baka has a fantastic matchup into, I'm just going to say it, the entirety of the Jade Dragons team. Who's peeling Baka if he gets ahead? I mean, no one. What, you get Hell? I'll speed up my team. We're not faster than Baka. It's not going to happen. So if Panitom gets off to a good start like he did last time, and with the buffs to his farm, he clears the jungle so much faster. He just eat minion, run, jump, continue that process until you get a level maybe 2 in the jungle. There's no way LASBRA ever takes that 1v1, especially from behind. You're running away. You're trying to avoid the Baka at all costs. Hell's not going to be able to run away. It's all going to be on LASBRA to try and change this one out. That's why I think we're seeing some shifts to the solo lane. A possible route at Tosker could help with some global presence, some CC, some much needed CC, because again, look at this comp. Mike provides a slow. That's about it. You need more CC in an actual team fight, so Rat could provide that. It would be a very squishy game, but hey, look at the opposition. It's just going to be Nox, so mage for mage, you don't got to worry about it.
And at that point, you're talking high kill counts. You're looking at the Warriors. This does get locked in, which presumably at this point they're using their bank time to talk strat. The Warriors took the Dragons and they brought them down to their level, right? Like they said, you don't need to play this regular composition anymore. Neither do they. They change it from the Rat instead to a Chernobog at the very end. So Ishtar, Chernobog, double Hunter. They've got double Mage. And then Susano carrying up the Assassin portion of this. Very, very interesting draft. Trelly, how does this game go, man? Outside of deadly, it feels like this should have a lot of kills on both sides.
I can tell both teams are very excited about what's about to happen. They're very hyped. They see a no-tank, full damage game, which is just more fun.
This is the ranked that Mike promised.
This is the rank that we were promised, and I'm hoping to see high kills once again. I see Pegon having a field day. I see Dardez having a field day. I mean, when you're these burst mages and everyone on the opposition is very squishy, you just get to sort of free cash. You're not worried about getting dove by some tank with, you know, maxed out prots late game W king at you. You just have to sort of position well and peel for each other with damage. But also, I think Mike and Jake's job is going to be pretty annoying. Actually, whichever team is behind at the moment, that support, you're just going to be first one dead. I mean, you're the sole front line into 4 carries. You're probably just going to be like, guys, stop, and they're not going to stop.
I honestly, when you get to drafts like this, my brain doesn't know how to start a fight, right? Like I'm looking at, like, there's a lot of initiation that is available. Do you really see it? Like, does Nox, like, I guess Nox actually has some ranged engage that you can start with. Are they the ones that are kicking things off? I feel like Bakasura ult is like the guy to really kind of keep things going for you, but it feels like there's so much for both teams to have to deal with and to worry about here that, like, every engagement, every fight they go into, it's just going to be a coin toss.
Yeah, it does, and that's the thing. The Jade Dragons are clearly adapting to the playstyle that the Oni Warriors have set forth, and in doing so, I think it messes with LASBRA more than anyone. If you've ever watched LASBRA play SMITE, he's either, you know, first one in a solo lane gank going for the 2v1, or he's sitting in the jungle waiting for you to go in. He's saying, okay, Panitom goes for a gank, I'm going to go for that counter initiation, get that kill. But you already highlighted it. Where's the initiation on the side of the Jade Dragons? You're looking at Ishtar and Susano. That's pretty much it.
Like, I mean, an Agni stun?
Yeah, like you're counting on an Agni stun to beat your initiator. It's not as easy, whereas Awesome Jake can just sit there with Nox. They can wait, throw out a combo, it misses. Don't worry, we'll back up. We'll try again in a couple seconds. Whenever that does connect, that's when the fight starts.
I can't guarantee anything about this game except that it feels like there should be a lot of kills. We'll find out. It's game 3. It could be the end of the finals. The Warriors are going to try to do it. The Dragons will try to delay it. So one more time at least, let's go down to Dave and Myth and find out.
I don't know if it smells like cupcake in here. It's the icing that's inside my nose still.
Both can be true.
It's both. It's both for sure. Some type of fiesta brewing in here for sure. We'll see what happens in game number 3. Because Myth, we've grouped as 5, and Awesome Jake might learn that the hard way. A lowly Nox.
Jake
lurking behind the wall, leaping happily.
Is he out? Oh my God, he's out. He just
and that's how it fizzles.
Why did Mike blow up their spot? The ability over wall just feels like didn't necessarily need to happen. Didn't seem like Jake had spotted him.
I like the thought process. Doesn't work into anything for the Jade Dragons. Let's talk about the comps we've got, Myth. What could be the last game of our kickoff tournament finals. We got no tanks, unless the mage supports start building a little bit tanky. AD carry for Nika over in solo. SoloOrTroll's got a Hebo solo. Diversifying our play styles a bit here in the third game.
And maybe Glass Cannon just seems to be the way of the road now, doesn't it? Just get aggressive and do it early on. Both sides looking for the potential to be the heroes that their team needs. I do straight up just prefer the Oni Warriors draft, though, I think. They've stuck with their guns. It's a similar style of draft as they had been running. Jake on the Nox has proven himself as a massive threat on map. Whereas on the other hand, the Jade Dragons, this feels like they've almost been sucked into the pace of the Oni Warriors. Yep. Charlie called it an adaptation. I'd say they've been dragged here.
They've been Jade dragged here?
Yeah, I was really worried that's where we were going with that.
It's me. You got to know that's exactly where we head right after. There's, you know, obviously smiles in the team booth for the Oni Warriors. The synergy that this team has shown us that they can play with while being mechanically very talented, which is always the credit that we gave them. But wondering how that would work together.
His dash on him?
Worked well.
He had shell?
Sure did have shell. Had to use it, though, because LASBRA and Dardez had enough damage for Pegon to nearly get that kill. Pegon will live for now. I wonder if, you know, junglers, you got Panitom on the Bakasura.
He wouldn't.
Susano dash in from Dardez and will fight in mid. LASBRA gets first blood. Panitom a chance to answer back. Needs one more auto.
Oh,
the up down gets it.
But he's dead though,
But
right?
LASBRA,
he's not dead.
Doesn't have the cooldowns. Won't go back in. 1 for 1 in mid. Nearly enough damage on a Netrioid as well.
Man, just fight nonstop across the map. That was a very telegraphed initiation. Does Jake still a vote? No, impossible. Literally impossible.
A bastion of safety, if you will. Just in case. Vote will double back and pedal away. Jake went kind of crazy on this pick in game 2. Style of gameplay that seemingly works with Jake and what the rest of the Oni Warriors want to do. So I'm interested if that type of pace gets kept up here in game 3. I mean, it's a different look, right? When you're Nox and you're initiating for what is otherwise 3 assassins and an Izanami, depending on what you want to classify Ebo as. I guess you got the same thing on the other side, though.
Well, not exactly. Jake's job is much easier than Mike's.
You think?
Mike can heal and slow. Jake can throw out a shadow lock from max range and stand next to his hunter while they just solo people like this.
Yeah, I guess that's true, where it's less assassin-y, more carry, magey, and some of the other picks for the Jade Dragons. It's interesting because, you know, when you see comps like this, you're thinking, all right, these players are having some fun, and I think they are. But from what we've seen, this is potentially just something we could expect from the Oni Warriors. Unfortunately for Netrioid, a rotation in from Dardez means stun and death. The Jade Dragons sensing maybe they've got to take the game to the Oni Warriors a bit in game 3.
I really like the attempt there from Jake, though. Actually catches the dash from Dardez. Had he been able to close a little bit more gap, maybe could have peeled out for his ally. But Netrioid takes a bit too much damage from the other 2 members of the Jade Dragons and finally does fall down. He had been sub 20% for what feels like the entire game, so it was only a matter of time. Eventually, the Jade Dragons do hit pay dirt. I wonder what the Jade Dragons do with this pace, though. This is the first time we've seen them have the onus in the early game. It's a paltry lead, but a lead nonetheless. Where do you go to transition it into more? When the Oni Warriors were in this position, we'd seen 5-minute gold furies, constant aggression on map, early pyromancers, attempted invades. The Jade Dragons would need to do the same if they want to replicate the pace of game the Oni Warriors have been able to establish.
Oh, sends his ultimate forward, but does not catch out Netrioid, who had a dash. Jake does as well. With this Oni Warriors team, just from the data we've gotten this weekend, you've got to be awake from the 5-minute mark onward, because that's when they pull the Fire Giant in game 1 or 2. I mean, it's all blurred together at this point. But you got to be ready, because this team does not shy away from pulling those early objectives. In about 45 or so seconds, the Fury will be on the map. Got a bunch of damage. Leaves that opportunity open. I'm interested to see where Sot goes with his build. I mean, we know he, on the Hades, likes building a bit more damage. I
got
imagine
you, bud.
It's just going to be full damage.
Doom Orb, Spear of Desolation,
Okay.
first 2 guaranteed.
Yep.
Revisit me at 3.
Okay, I'll check back in with you in a little bit. Panitom's in trouble. Typhoon will get the knock-up. Pegon rotates out of mid. Panitom will live this time.
He's dead.
Nika with one last auto has it, but Pegon wreaking havoc in the back line. SoloOrTroll takes what would have been a double kill for Pegon. But how much trouble is Sot in now? There is a crushing wave for the Hebo. I think Nika and LASBRA realizing that. Don't want anything to do with the rest of this fight. It's getting scrappy. Hard to follow even to a point. But all these rotations out very quick from both mid laners.
LASBRA steps forward, maybe too far. Ultimate does the damage. Nika now on the chase. If SOT can find the water cannon,
yeah,
that's
but
all
look
you
who's
need.
coming in from behind. Panitom's going to be here as well, and Panitom will get the kill. Nika got hit all your autos here to trade something out. Chernobog, not the best at escaping over walls and through the jungle unless you've got your ultimate. He does not. Onto the wall, off the wall, and down. Suddenly, the scrappy playstyle catching up with the Jade Dragons a bit on right.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an overcommitment to shut down Panitom. Just allows Pegon to run amok in the back line, essentially free casting. SOT grabs a couple of the kills, stealing away the double from Pegon, as you said. Well, maybe necessary considering SOT had sacrificed his wave to be there. So even with the 2-0-1 start, not exactly ahead of Nika, and Nika benefiting not only from the sustain of Death's Toll, but now Bloodforge as well, might just have advantage in the laning phase. Poke and damage output burst potential, certainly favoring SOT, but so long as Nika's allowed to auto-attack a few times, should be able to catch back up pretty quick.
I was going to say, I'm trying to figure out the pace that this game is going to go at, but fast has just been the name of the game in games 1 and 2, and apparently here in game 3 as well. We have been well past a kill a minute all set long, even doubling it at points throughout our second game. Some tankiness, yes, for the supports. It looks like Prophetic Cloak picked up for both. And Mike, at this point, trying to stack diff his opponents. That was a big point of emphasis for him earlier on in the weekend. Thoth's going to get ganked out by LASBRA here. Crushing wave. Saves his life for a moment, but a Typhoon cleans up the kill. Relatively simple for the Jade Dragons jungler. He does, I believe. Magic Focus just now being added in. So that's just Doomorb and Vampiric on the start. Really chunked down LASBRA. Dardez maybe an opportunity, but won't end up chasing any further. Panitom up and over the wall.
Close.
Nearly grabs the root. Ult out of Solo from Nika. Gets a root onto Panitom. LASBRA's here as well, and the Jade Dragons suddenly scrapping back in game 3. It's a team that groups as 2 or 3, and then the Jade Dragons group as 2 or 3, and the Oni Warriors do it. And more recently, the Dragons have grouped up over in mid and gotten a pick.
And now with the resustain of Mike, could even potentially look towards the Fury if they so choose. Nika's made a massive rotation here. Should sacrifice just about an entire wave to that tower, so I thought might have been worth his while to stick around and push the objective. Instead, we'll head back over towards lane. That's unfortunate timing for the Oni Warriors. Pegon was actually mid-rotation over towards right, trying to gank onto Nika. Just gets left high and dry.
Double silence from Netrioid actually keeps this fight interesting. Dodges out.
No way.
The damage from Mike. And Net's been on one today. Nearly turns a 2 versus 1, but Panitom's got the rest of the damage. Vote will have to dash away after his ult. And Pegon, you better believe this team is considering a dive, but it's not a long consideration. Let's Vote and LASBRA back away. How about that for standing your ground? And how about this from the Oni Warriors? It's an 8.5-minute Gold Fury pull. Dardez steal potential, but he's going to be in some danger if this is spotted out. Half HP remaining on the Fury. Netrioid unable to get out of this fight. And a Typhoon from LASBRA is going to be a game changer, and it sure is. Suddenly the Jade Dragons with a leg to stand on, but as Pegon swept it to the side, 3-for-1 trade. Might get worse if Vote hits his autos.
Now it's time for the Jade Dragons to finally look towards this objective. PBM with the heal, and no rotation for SOT could be fast enough to actually get to the Fury. So the Jade Dragons strike first as far as objectives are concerned. The Oni Warriors, I think, a bit overzealous in their decision to move in towards the gold there. A phenomenal flank from Dardez splits their attention. A few stick to the objective. 1 or 2 try and jump onto the Agni. But with split decision making, aren't quite able to accomplish either, and instead it's the Jade Dragons coming out handily after that small skirmish. But even in spite of a kill lead and an objective lead, it's dead even. The Oni Warriors, they're just farming better. Did I just say that? The scrap team is farming better? They're kings in them? No way.
Look, the Oni Warriors were doing it in game 2 a bit. Remember, those kills were pretty even. That said, the objectives were in favor of the Oni Warriors.
LASBRA's 4-1 and a level down. Again.
I was going to say, you could copy and paste that from game 2.
Run that back.
Panitom does have 7 affected kills, but has been able to farm up, has died 3 times. Panitom, farm machine, has been doing just fine. As a member of the Oni Warriors so far here this weekend. Pyromancer will be up shortly. Silence on to Vote, who's in a bit of trouble here. CC immunity is out, has beads, but this point maybe turning a kill. I'm thinking this is an afterthought, and a kill on to Vote is, but Nika on his rotation over maybe slowed the jump in from Panitom. Well played there by Vote to at least go 1-for-1.
LASBRA now hovering the left-hand side. Nika has made the rotation all the way to left, so will likely have to stick around here. Potential for a lane swap, if they so choose. Could just have Vote on respawn, head over to the soul lane. Won't sacrifice too much farm that way. Heavy commitment from LASBRA, though. He is hovering this left side.
Sure is. LASBRA's been all over the place this game. Dardez silenced.
Dive on
Sot has Crushing Wave, uses it. No Aegis for Dardez at this point in the game. Beads aren't going to help you, but there is a dive happening on left, and it looks good. Okay, Solo Tower, or Order Tower, excuse me, gets the kill. Pegon answers back. And we've officially reached our 2 kills a minute threshold here between the Oni Warriors and the Dragons. Good luck keeping up with that. Really, all you can do is look at gold and how that begins to shift. This is where the Oni Warriors have really separated themselves, where the Dragons have kept up in the scrap department, never really falling that far behind in kills. Just farm, gold, and experience haven't been there.
It's just this willingness from the Oni Warriors to forego standard SMITE conventions. Mid laners stay in mid, duo laners stay in duo, solos in solo, right? That's not the case when the Oni Warriors are playing. They're everywhere on the map all the time. I have to imagine throughout this set so far, the Jade Dragons communications have been ripe with, why is X here?
Right. And then there's no answer, right?
No.
It's just the answer is because they're going to run down farm somewhere. 1 Water Hands from Sot. Really surprised LASBRA there. Nika with Fail Not now. Ults in, 4-man silence from Jake. And look how much respect the Jade Dragons are giving Jake. It was only Jake, but the Dragons with the threat of the Oni Warriors potentially looming by do not take the initiation. Didn't really have a choice. They're all silenced.
Stealing speed.
Of course he is. And that gives Pegon some comfort to dash in towards Vote, who leaves beneath his tier 1 tower. We're diving.
What
We're
up?
diving. Vote doesn't have beads, does have ultimate. Panitom, easy enough. Unfortunate. It's been a tough series for Vote, hasn't it? Where
Just running him down, no way.
Where's Crushing Wave? Sidesteps, but LASBRA, who has had a nice set so far. It's difficult because LASBRA's fallen 3 levels behind, but LASBRA's done nicely in kind of this like kill.
LASBRA's 6-2, 3 levels down, 2 games in a row.
Right. Yeah, but say the first part again.
It's 6-2.
Yeah, right.
Sounds awesome.
That's my cutoff point. He's been able to fight, but has not been able to farm at the same pace. Man, Oni Warriors, they've caught the Dragons off guard once again. Could be another 3-0. Or I was going to say for Dave, but who cares about that? It's a 3-0 potentially here in the grand finals. After, you know, we have had contested sets this weekend, a couple 3-1s yesterday. But this Oni Warriors team has just looked different against the Jade Dragons in the grand finals. Oni Fury pulled now. Could be a 5 versus 5. Jake is low. Could
Has
be an
to die
opening
here.
kill. He won't for now.
Okay.
And up and over the wall he goes.
Fury, though.
But yes, Fury given back to the Jade Dragons. Helps salve the wounds just a bit.
No, that's a massive win for the Jade Dragons there, and potentially some more if Netrioid isn't aware of the 3 chasing him.
Yeah. Dodges out.
No. The shotgun blast? Couldn't hit any of it?
Oh, it didn't work. No, now
No,
Nika
not Nika.
Use the Aegis. This is a tier 2 tower. Yeah,
He's fine. He's okay.
We'll respect it a bit. But it's the only tower. The stealth sidestep, we don't get to see those all that often, but that one, under the microscope of Doug, gets caught out, and Netrioid survives. But does lose a tier 1 tower on left. Again, Jade Dragons finding these small openings to close up that gold gap just a bit extra. The Oni Warriors have not given those opportunities in the last couple of games. But Panitom, you know, there's a critical mass conversation with the Bakasura that we haven't been able to talk about because we never see this pick. 3 items in, Golden Blade, Bloodforge, little crit with the Bladed Boomerang. We're starting to get towards that critical mass.
Yeah, is sacrificing a good deal of penetration in the build. I wonder if he looks towards maybe a Demon Blade and next slot, SOT. Some trouble.
Sot.
No, he's dead.
Crushing Wave away, and LASBRA again, who's fallen behind but been able to fight effectively in on the rest of the fight. But Panitom has filled up the tank, and he's pressing down the gas. Double kill on the Bakasura. When the Jade Dragons think they get this great opening, this great opportunity, it's Panitom who's right there on the answer.
Every single time, just the positioning perfect from this jungler. Able to get involved on the tail end. The Jade Dragons maybe even let out a sigh of relief as they shut down SOT and Pegon, but forget the looming threat in the jungle. Vote forward. Jake caught out, but Netrioid the target.
Netrioid the one who gets stunned. Jake avoids it. Arc Portal again, it's great. And that's been hitting them so far this game. Yeah, Panitom stopped off at the gas station.
He's dead, he's dead, he's dead.
Yeah, okay. Look, I haven't been able to guess on another 2 kills for the Jade Dragons. Jake ended up getting caught out just after the fact, and it's right when the Pyromancer spawns. Dragons learning a bit from what the Oni Warriors have been doing so far this set. Fight a bit. It's over in 28 kills in 16 minutes. Gives us our second Pyromancer of the game, 1 apiece.
And it is dead even so far as everything barring experience, which is still slightly in favor of the Oni Warriors. Majority of that experience lead probably resides in mid. 2 levels for Pegon on this set, who for the most part just hasn't been in mid, has been making his money in the jungle or on side lane rotations. But we should, operative word should,
there's a lot of things
see
we
a lull
should
in
be
action.
doing, right?
We should see a lull in action here. There's not much to fight over. Fire Giant,
Has that been an issue, though?
Oh, we're just going to do it? Okay.
Yeah, we are at 16.5 minutes.
The
Oni
boys
Warriors
see it.
pull the FG. Do they drop it? Do they fight? Do we run? What's the answer? It's go in for Pegon. Nika uses his disengage.
Spirits pursue you.
It is a dropped Fire Giant, so that is a bait.
Beads off Mike.
There's a ward from the Jade Dragons over on this side of the map. Panitom being over the mid lane limits a bit of the fighting, but that just means Panitom's going to come in later. Nika, uh-oh, goodbye Aegis, and goodbye Chernobog. SOT's finished off the kill. Oh my god. With a blink of the eye, the Jade Dragons have lost everyone but LASBRA and Dardez. And if you thought Fire Giant was a consideration before, you better believe it's going to get started now for the Oni Warriors.
Well, surely there's a lull in action now. The Jade Dragons wouldn't walk in 2v5 to the Fire
FG.
Giant.
No. Unless you're in, we have to save the game. If this Fire Giant goes, we lose type territory.
Oh my god.
Water Spout, Water Hand.
He missed everything.
Half HP off of Dardez. Sot does not have Crushing Wave.
He doesn't need
Water Carpet in a moment just slows down Dardez. And the Oni Warriors get the Fire Giant in the meantime. What to say? What to say about
Please
this Oni
direct
Warriors
me. Give
team?
me a question, you know?
How do you win against this?
How do you beat the Oni Warriors?
I mean, really, truthfully, though, is the only way to beat this just doing it better. Like, do you think maybe that's actually the mindset of the Dragons? They draft this type of comp just to try to match what the Warriors have done in the scrapping, in the fighting, in the objective department? Because you can't. If you choose a comp that's just going to slow way down, does that just get run over? Is the only way to fight against this style of gameplay to run it the opposite direction?
No, there are thousands of ways to put out a fire. You could fight fire with anything you want.
No, that's not true.
Anything you want besides like oil.
That is bad advice.
You could put a blanket on it.
I'm going to go home and fight fire with a piece of dry wood just because you told me I could.
You legitimately could. I wouldn't recommend. That's a hard way to do it. You know, you could make it easier for yourself. Early game to beat early game, I suppose.
Maybe. Well, LASBRA, again, has gotten plenty of kills this game. But a 2-kill swing back for the Jade Dragons, who have stuffed this Fire Giant offense a bit. Get the buffs off of Panitom and Pegon.
3 versus 4, they still keep pushing?
Yeah, why not? Netrioid, Jake, they'll go ahead and pull tier 2 tower. They'll get it. But the chase is on. Frenzy's been used.
Oh, this could be big.
Here, the Water Hand's big. And an Aegis needed by vote. Netrioids turn the tables on Nika. And now it is down to a 3 versus 3 Water Spout.
He's still walking at him.
Water Spout.
Come here.
We're diving a Phoenix. We're diving a Phoenix.
No, not LASBRA 2.
Oh my god, Sot does end up trading out. Look.
Dardez respawn.
The reason this team is so fun to watch, Jake and Net may die here. Aegis saves Net for the time being and saves Jake thanks to the dash forward.
Don't walk into this. He hits hard.
Dash away.
This could very quickly turn.
Away, dash away all. I'm looking at the Oni Warriors. They've
Mike.
respawned. They've got reinforcements, but they're on the other side of the map.
Okay.
Maybe the reason this Oni Warriors team is so fun to watch is because of so much of what we've been talking about with like mechanical masterminds and all of this skill. And it's all 5 of them on a team where they just want to do that. And so it's effectively a showcase every time we've seen the Oni Warriors play this weekend.
Just a different way to approach the game. I mean, the conversation around SMITE, at large, a lot of people have said, look, we've probably reached the mechanical ceiling. The majority of highest ranked players, your GM players, your top 200s, the SPL players, they would say the 40th best guy in the league is not so much worse than the best guy in the league at pressing their buttons. Sure. The Oni Warriors are kind of spitting in the face of that. The conversation's been, how do you become better? You become better as a team. Macro play, strategize.
There's value to that, though.
There is certainly value to it. But clearly there's value to extending and breaking the figurative glass mechanical ceiling. And the Oni Warriors have done exactly that. They're simply pushing their buttons better. So every game so far, we've seen SOT turn around a 1v2 or a 1v3. Every game so far, we've seen Pegon solo out Dardez. Every game so far, Netrioid has just dominated vote in this lane. And that's how they've established their leads.
We've also seen LASBRA close in on nearly 10 kills, but also a couple levels down.
Only hit 20 once.
Only hit 20 once. I'm learning that the hard way. I was 28 years ago.
Oh my God.
My back was so tight when I woke up this morning. I had to stretch when I I pray you never have to stretch when you get out of bed, but I had to. SOT is on a solo mission right now.
He's waiting for someone to go through the door, I guess.
Well, they're all outside already. Jade Dragons have been able to find some individual picks that have slowed the roll of the Oni Warriors. Up was Nika.
They know Sot's there now, too.
That's right. You had vision on Sot. That's what Dardez is maybe doubling back for. But that said, this is where you do have to sometimes be careful.
Oh, no.
When you do too much.
He's done too much, Dave.
Yeah, but look
he's taunting him.
Look how cautious they are. Crushing wave.
Good Lord.
Forward. Double kill for LASBRA. He's got 3 kills in the last few minutes. No, they can't. They can't.
Yo, Sot's going to buy so much time. Let's just do fire.
They can't. That said, this is where this type of gameplay and this type of composition can get iffy. When you do a lot and you're winning early, but then when the death timers get long and you go on a solo mission and die, and now you're dead for 30 seconds, this is where the games can get flipped on you. Fire Giant should go to the Dragons.
Should.
But let's see some of the mechanics at play. The Oni Warriors won't take their chance. First Fire Giant of the set, maybe. Over to the Jade Dragons and a kill onto Panitom. Again, individual picks. This far into the game, starting to cost the Oni Warriors. And the gold, what was 5,000–6,000 in the lead, now completely flipped and back to even.
So this is where I thought the answer would be to the Oni Warriors. It's the same answer that teams had devised against the original Jade Dragons, is withstand the early game, group up as 5, beat them in the team fight. Beat them in that 5-on-5 engagement. So far, the Jade Dragons have been handed a few unforced errors. SOT standing at Phoenix line, probably not ideal. Can they now siege with fire? Doesn't seem like it.
Pretty good ult there from Jake. The respawn's back through. Oni Warriors, they want to fight.
What hit him?
Pegon Skewer, maybe? I'm not sure. Does have Bluestone, maybe the last bit of that upgraded Bluestone. Dealt the damage to Dardez. To Nika buying his time. And actually plays it well. Nika turning the damage, but nuts. SOT back into the fight. Double pull in from LASBRA, but Pegon reinitiates. Triple backup from SOT. Vote turns around some damage, then Vote will get a double before dropping, and Netrioid, the 80 carry on the other side, has one of his own, and a 2-for-4 trade leaves LASBRA last alive on the map.
This is what I'm talking about, Dave. These 3-man skewers, triple water spouts, Panitom creating space, Netrioid finding 2 with the ultimate and landing every single one of his auto attacks. That's the difference. So often, players will take into account mechanical issues. All right, well, they can't land every auto on me. Not every. I can juke out some of this. It doesn't seem to work against the Oni Warriors. If you are banking on some sort of skill issue or user error, the only errors I've seen from the Oni Warriors are in macro decision-making, right? It's, should we be standing on Phoenix line? And that's really the only one I can point to. And it was 5 minutes ago. Otherwise, the Oni Warriors have simply just played around this absolutely ridiculous, almost selfish play style from each one of these players. Everybody's a striker on the Oni Warriors. Nobody wants to play midfielder. Nobody wants to be a goalie. We got a whole lot of Blue Lock fans here.
That's right, and they've put the puzzle pieces together.
They
right,
have.
they've had to change how they think about the game, and they each have a different weapon that they've unlocked.
I agree.
Average show at best, by the way.
Okay.
It's good. Well, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I want to watch a soccer game happen. You know, I
want to watch a Smite game.
You are. You're watching it. It's happening.
And I'm loving it every second. If every Smite game were like this, man, you wouldn't have to pay me to cast. I'd pay you.
We are 1 kill away in the next minute of 2 kills a minute for the entirety of this game. Something tells me we're going to get there, Biff. I don't know what that feeling is, but something tells me we're going to get there.
50 and 25, huh? Who'd have thought?
Not me.
Not me.
Although maybe we should have thought after game 1, after game 2.
Every set the Oni Warriors have played.
Seeing the comps. Was it you guys on the pre-show that were wondering like what type of matches we were going to get here between the Onis and the Dragons? We were like, it's going to be slow, more methodical. And game 1 was almost that type of game.
Almost.
You know, that was like a 7-7 game for like 20, 25 minutes. We kind of blew the barn doors off over in game 2, and game 3 has followed suit even more fierce. Fire Giant's going to be up in 30 and might be our next big battleground. Unfortunately, the Dragons, that 4,000 gold deficit you swept away, has just built back up to now 5,500.
Wow, that chart tells a story, doesn't it? Lead established, Jade Dragons swing it back to neutral, lead reestablished.
3 separate times, right.
How often has the chart dipped into the Jade Dragon side? Not off, like one time for a brief.
I don't know if we're counting that 3-minute.
Yeah,
you know.
maybe. They never held the lead for more than 40 seconds, it would appear.
40 or so seconds, and that's just conveniently how long the Oni Warriors were dead. Dragons still have a chance, though. Of course they do. Might just come down to this one final fight, though. Oni Warriors, what a statement they will have made if you win this kickoff tournament. After what all the pundits were saying about this team coming into this weekend. Panitom on his own. That'd be a
could be
great
massive.
pick for the Jade Dragons, and it is, and they get out cleanly as well. Now a 5 versus 4. Hasn't worried the Oni Warriors much throughout this set, a 5v4. But for now, you do need to think twice. Again, a solo mission. Maybe a bit of a bad decision from the Oni Warriors.
No
Vote
way.
Caught in place. Aegis buys some time and completely mitigates the crushing wave from SOT, but Pegon from around the wall on the right.
What is
Netrioid
happening?
Wraps around to the left, and this team pincers the Jade Dragons.
You have gotta be kidding!
Simply doesn't matter. Pegon dropped a quad on the world stage and might have 3 for the Jade Dragons here in game 3.
The TTK is so low here. Time to kill. If the Oni Warriors are attacking, seems like nobody can survive for more than 5 seconds. Even Mike falls susceptible, probably because Mike's only bought 2 defense items and one of them splits defense to nearby allies. Otherwise, all damage for him. The Oni Warriors play with supreme confidence.
And that was without, like, Crushing Wave doing anything.
Crushing Wave went straight into a wall and an Aegis.
Right. It could have been a lot worse, somehow. Pegon, he'll just go ahead and take down the right side. Phoenix respawn still 5 to 10 seconds away. This has been incredible.
They wouldn't.
From the Oni Warriors, a ridiculous breakneck play style has caught the Dragons off guard in game 2 and even more so in game 3. Really just one more fight, you feel like. And the Oni Warriors are going to be picking who goes over to the 2nd division first.
Dave, remind me, we're still new to Season 10. The coach for the Oni Warriors, you have it memorized at the top of your head?
Oxy, coach.
Oh, it is Oxy. Dude, how is Oxy coaching this? We went from the Leviathans to this?
He's kicking the feet up and says, go. Thrive, do your thing.
Do you guys need any water?
Right. Look, Sot's laughing, Pegon. Smiles on the faces of the Oni Warriors right now.
What do you do? Where do you go from here? The Jade Dragons'
Now,
base defense is strong.
It is, sure. Go ahead. If you think they might have.
I think, well.
They have repel opportunity.
Yeah, I won't catch me betting against the Oni Warriors anytime ever again.
I did it once this year already. I bet against something fierce.
Yeah, and I'm not doing it ever again. Look, the Jade Dragons' base defense is good, so long as they can survive the initial spearhead of the Oni Warriors. If Shadowlock and a Water Spout get you a kill, the Oni Warriors are going to kill all of them, and it's going to happen pretty quick. But if the Jade Dragons can survive that initial push in and then reinitiate, re-engage, have LASBRA going with the Typhoon, create some space, connect with SOT in particular, I think that is one way for them to maintain the base.
Sot, still 22 seconds away from both of his relics, so getting out of that. Just thanks to his items, Panitom. Well, this solo mission pays off. Pegon on his own over on left. Nika dashes forward with his ultimate, but Pegon
goes for the turn.
Dodges out a lot of that damage. And Nika will finish off the kill over on the other side. So a 1-for-1 trade in the base of the Jade Dragons. This is where this type of composition could be difficult to siege with. You're walking into a lot of damage as a few squishy targets.
SOT and Netrioid hold on to their ultimates here and have already broken the base on the right-hand side. One Shadow Lock really could just do it. Anybody from the Jade Dragons would simply fall prey so long as there's a little bit of follow-up behind them. Awesome Jake leads the charge. Can't do it to Mike. He's got cleanse. Dardez, though, could be a pretty decent target.
Could be. Just waiting for Pegon to make his way back onto the map. 9 and 5.
It's happening so fast!
Mike uses the frenzy, and awesome Jake, the support in the kill column.
He had beads.
For the first time in Game 3, Sot levels Dardez.
He had beads and Aegis.
And the mid-Phoenix falls in suit. Now 2 Fire Minion waves will be working against the base of the Dragons.
2 Fire Minion waves and 4 members of the Oni Warriors, and that seems to be just enough. Pegon might not even have the time to get to the Titan room by the time the Warriors have cleaned up what's left of the Jade Dragons. 3-man core alive, 30 seconds on nearest respawn. LASBRA, you got to do something, and it's got to be big. That Typhoon Major wasn't allowed to use it before he fell on his previous death, and doesn't have beads for this one either. Shadowlock kills him.
To be honest, I think the Oni Warriors need to lose Jake here. 4 has been the magic number.
There he goes.
If you got 4 team members on map, that's when the Oni Warriors have been winning all of their fights.
Dude, the Warriors are
They're
yucking
laughing.
it up.
They're
They are
laughing.
That's not a laugh. SOT threw his head back like a villain. Are you? They are guffawing at the Jade Dragons right now.
If you told me, all right, maybe I'm at risk of being wrong here.
Please.
A 32-27 game that actually feels kind of calculated by the Oni Warriors.
Does this feel calculated?
I guess that's where I was at risk of being wrong. This feels like an active choice for the Oni Warriors to play this style of game, I guess is what I'm getting at.
We're not strong enough to perceive the strategies on screen, all right? We're watching masters at work. This won't be properly appreciated in the Oni Warriors' lifetimes. This is going to be studied by war historians hundreds of years down the line. Sun Tzu was a genius at his time. He wasn't appreciated.
This is the blue lock where it's rank 1, 2, and 3 going up against the main character and his boys, and they can't even perceive what's going on the field.
What's happening?
There's too many strikers on one team. Honestly, it's a pretty apt description. Panitom wrapping towards mid.
LASBRA's got to know.
Yeah, he's got some idea. Panitom won't step forward. Pyromancer goes to the Oni Warriors. Right side, Phoenix is back up, but the Fire Giant is as well. And you can, look at how cautious the Jade Dragons feel like they have to be, because they've been caught out in the jungle once or twice, even at a team member deficit. One shadow lock to your point, Myth, from Jake.
Who is unkillable,
it
would seem.
It feels like. Unless he's walking into Titan and Fountain all on his own against 5. But it takes a lot. Panitom on a rotation through. He'll step on a ward. Hello, says LASBRA. And the rest of the Jade Dragons.
Mike is
gonna
like
be
a
some
shark.
Fireworks, I know. It's going to be some fireworks towards the end of this game.
It's like watching a WoW raid. Panitom pulled aggro, and Mike just went in.
Just goes towards him. Sot has 32,000 damage at the 33-minute mark. 1,000 damage.
Whoa!
Feels fine. I'll add 1,000 damage with my water hands, please. And it looks like it's working out. Pegon, Jake, and the boys following up on their solo laner. Netrioid lives. Sot's on a killing spree. And it's been a masterclass of fighting and mechanics from the Oni Warriors all day long.
Oh, the dash.
Dardez will give a double over to Pegon, and I'm not sure fire even matters. They're considering it. They'll do it. They might have time to end the game after.
Yeah, this is just to heal up. They're doing Fire Giant to resustain.
To sustain.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't do it, Sot. Let LASBRA... Let my man live! Let him live for a second! 2,000 damage!
That's game, by the way. The Oni Warriors, they've made a statement. They've put their foot down, and they've 3-0'd the Jade Dragons in the SMITE Pro League Kickoff Tournament Finals. They will select first during our draft show later on today. A team that maybe someone believed in, Myth, but we were not sure how this team would look, and they've looked incredible all weekend long. It's just been a difference in what feels like every lane all day today.
I feel like it's almost a generational shift in SMITE. Yeah, good work, fella.
Good job.
That's really good work. Yeah. This is it. This is the new guard, it would seem. I mean, that is crazy. Worth noting, kickoff tournament. Maybe there's something left in the take for some of the older guys in the league, but this is a team of young guys, relatively new to the SMITE Pro League as opposed to some of their contemporaries on the other side, and they look good.
The question is, and I assume, I mean, the answer is going to be yes. This Oni Warriors team is threatening, and they'll win some games, and they'll keep doing good things all year long. It's as the meta settles, as we step forward, to the Oni Warriors feel like they have to adapt throughout Phase 1 towards Masters.
But Dave, I've thought about this. I don't think the meta settles this year.
Sure.
Every season,
that's right, there's big changes.
The season of hope, season of death, season of plague and locust, or whatever it is, seems to just be massive meta changes.
Yep.
Good luck figuring it out before the Oni Warriors do.
Is it the season of the Oni Warriors? For now, it is. Oni Warriors 3-0 the Jade Dragons in the SMITE Pro League Kickoff Tournament Grand Finals. That's it from If and I on the desk. We'll take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, Dave in 3-0 finals, right? Name a better combo right now.
Man.
Is that a little? That might be a little too mean. Now
soon,
I actually feel bad about it. Play well. They look good doing it, Trelly. Look, it is a nice. Is that the term I want to use? It was a fun 3-0.
It was fun
for the Warriors here. A lot of scrappiness, which is what we expected going into that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how consistently scrappy but ahead the Warriors were able to make themselves.
I don't know, because, you know, Mifflin said something along the lines of, how does Oxy coach that? And I don't think, whatever Oxy said before that game, I cannot imagine was what happened. It was not what played out. I don't think he
yo,
said,
guys, just hold W.
I don't think he said, yo, hide behind corners, Sot, I want you at Phoenix at like 15 minutes. Just laugh spam. Like, that is not the game
He wanted
plan.
to look in his notebook. It actually does just say guerrilla warfare.
He just planned out this entire game. If so, then he's built different. I don't know what to say, but it just seems like you can't get a handle on these guys. They're going to play the game they want to, and right now that game is winning, and it's winning very, very high kills, very high action, the exact kind of Smite that I like to watch.
And of course, the thing we've been talking about, first off, how wild that game was, and what wild rides the Warriors have given us so far this weekend, but also, Trelly, what that means for their future. They get to control at least one team that is not going to be in their group when we get to the draft show. So a lot of pressure? I don't know if that's even the term I want to use. Something going onto their shoulders to make sure they can make a choice they're happy with. But, man, if you're playing like this and you're having fun the way they were, Mifflin had called it out, but guffawing is the word he used, which was pretty damn accurate to how they were reacting. A lot of laughs to be had in the middle of the game. Got to peep it. 29.4K, going right back up to those damage numbers there for Pegon. But standing above him this time around, it is SoloOrTroll. I even told you, I was like, we watched 5, 6, 7 minutes of gameplay. I'm watching SoloOrTroll pilot the Hebo, and like it's registering in my brain, like, yeah, that's not Pegon. And then he made a play, and my brain just goes, wait a minute, that's not Pegon. It was something that I think he filled, or had big shoes to fill.
Yep.
And he did it compared to his own mid laner. I mean, gets some big damage numbers, good kills, good presence.
And that's the thing. It is so difficult to play against that style of play unless you are able to win those 1v1s, and it seemed like the Warriors were always putting themselves in positions where, hey, if you take this fight, you're going to die. Like, there's no way. And if you don't die, my team's got the cleanup.
Well, the good news is it's not just us laughing and having fun with it. It was also the Warriors laughing and having fun. We got Sot standing by right now for an interview.
That's right, SoloOrTroll. And Sot, you got what, Hebo there in Game 3, got a Hades game in there. Are you guys having fun? It feels like a really fun style of Smite to play.
Yeah, we're having a ton of fun. I mean, that game was so funny. I think the funniest part of that game was, I think when we tried to end at one point, Jake was like so confident. He's like, guys, I have perfect. I have ult. They're gonna do no damage. I can dash. I can silence. We just hit the Titan, and then he dashed in, and he insta died, and we were all just.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
he was in there alone. And Miff and I were joking because it felt like Jake at one point with his build and how far ahead it felt like he was unkillable, and it took him diving Titan and Fountain to like finally kill off Jake. In games like that, feels like comms could be chaotic, or do you feel like you guys are all on the same page? I mean, that's like a 60 kill game in 30 minutes, something like that. Do you feel like that's a game where you guys actually feel in control and the comms are on the same page?
Yeah, I mean, the comms, some things can get confusing for sure, but I think for the most part, we understand, like, where people are on the map. I think we're pretty good at, like, spotting people. So we'll be like, LASBRA's here. He's going to, like, he's going to blink on you if you do this. Like, I know one example was, like, I think somewhere in mid, I one-shot Dardez, Agni. And then right after I did that, Pegon pointed out that Susano was behind the wall. And and so I was like, all right, you know, I was made aware of where he was, you know, stuff like that. It can get pretty hectic in team fights, of course. I mean, every team can kind of hectic, but I think we do a good job of, you know, kind of understanding where people are. And I think another thing is like me, Daniel, and Jake especially, we're pretty close friends. So like, you know, we kind of know how each other works. You know, we know like we kind of just like have a natural kind of synergy. Like sometimes like
Sure.
we don't even need to say like, can you stun? We just we just do it. So.
Miff and I on the cast were kind of joking. What does Coach Oxy think about all this? Is he just does he come up with some draft ideas and lets the boys run? Because I don't know how you coach something like that, right? It's a team of chaos in the best way.
No, it's definitely hard. I mean, I don't envy his job because
Right.
you know, it's kind of I mean, he doesn't restrict us. He gives us ideas and like what might be good, and he also says like, you know, they could pick this, you know. He also has like scrim data, so it's like they pick this, you know, this amount of times. They could definitely pick this. They could pick con mass or something. So you know, he does a good job of, you know, just letting us know, like making us aware during picks and bans, and then we can kind of pick off that.
Right.
And be like, you know, we have more information to kind of guide us. So.
We could talk to Jake about the Titan dive later
Yeah.
on in that game. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
You guys got the 3-0 anyway. Now, first pick during our draft show later on, and we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Congrats on the win. Grand finals of the Kickoff tournament. Excited for this year for you guys. We'll go back to the desk.
They win it. They seem happy about it. They aren't uncoachable, so if that was being implied, we now know how things are going. Also, I had to look it up, but regardless of stream and scrims and stuff, first competitive game on Hebo for SOT, and rocks it. So as of right now, I see the play count 1, win rate 100. Maybe he wants to keep it there. Maybe he plays around a little bit more. We can take a look at the bracket, see how we got here. 8 teams entered, 1 team left standing at the end of it, and it is the Warriors with a 3-0 victory here in the finals after taking out the Kings as well as the Ravens. A very, very fun path of 8 games for them so far. I guess 9 games that they played this weekend. And Trelly, it's been a lot of fun. If you're looking at this and knowing that we're going into the draft show,
Right.
how are you starting to formulate your thoughts if you're the Warriors?
Well, see, that's the thing. If it was a more structured team that was here, I'd be interested in picking their brain and be like, hey, what's the thought process behind this? But you know, one of those fine young gentlemen are going to walk up here and say, we picked them
I could see it being Jake.
because, you know, we just want to see them game. And then they're going to walk away, and that's going to be the whole thought process.
Yeah.
It's still, hey, they earned that right. They won. They can do whatever they want with it. Just because you have the power to choose doesn't mean you have to do it with the most thought process in mind.
Yeah.
So I just want to see what they decide, because it's going to be a hectic year if these guys are always going to be at the top of the seedings.
Well, that's going to be the fun thing again. No, we're getting some players, I think, like pouring in right now.
Yep.
The draft show is going to be starting. It's about 7 minutes from right now, 4 p.m. Eastern is when that's going to be kicking off. We're going to be bringing in the Warriors and then starting that snake draft and determining what the 2 divisions are going to be for Phase 1, and of course maybe see what the trajectory of the SPL is going to be as we move towards that path to Masters happening in summer. So a lot of weeks of play to still be had for them, and of course a lot, I think, competitively right now, Trelly, for these teams to try and do, but it all starts with the draft, so we're going to kick it to a quick break, and then a little over 6 minutes, we'll be back.
East Coast always in me, Commonwealth, Lil Joe, getting love from my city. I roll call for the DMV. In my own lane, you could still ride with me. Lord knows I made mistakes. You won't end, but it's too late.